Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 6 of the Octane Online Racing Sprint Series. We are in sunny South Africa at Kyalami for a 60-minute sprint race, which will decide the championships. Contrary to the little notification at the bottom there, I am not Jamie Conboy, and I am not joined by David McNulty. I am, however, JP, and I'm joined by Thomas Riley and Jesse McLean. How are we, lads?
Yeah, good thanks yourself, JP. Good to be here for the final round. Evening, Jesse.
Evening, Preach. Evening, JP. Yeah, feeling good. So I feel like it's going to be a good evening of good racing.
And we now have an updated graphic with the correct names on there. I am in fact JP, and we will be joined by Sean Bubb now after he wins the Split Blue Pro-Am Championships. I'm assuming he's hoping for that to be the reality. As we jump over to qualifying, of course there has been an update today, so a little bit of a mix-up with some of the BOP. Some cars got a little bit of a buff, some cars got a little bit of a nerf. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. What do we reckon for this split? We have a very close battle between O'Hara and Burrs, and then we have an even closer battle for the third position. So who do we reckon will be taking it, guys?
I think O'Hara will keep a cool head, and I think he might just get away with it. But saying earlier, I think, seeing from earlier, I think Burrs ran an absolute stonker of a time earlier. So it's anyone's game in the top two, but the third, fourth, and fifth, I assume Elbows will be out and pushing hard.
I don't see Burrs on the entry list. Unless I'm blind, I don't see him there.
Oh, we don't?
Is there a 420 somewhere on the track map? Because he might be below.
Oh no, that's right.
Maybe?
Yep, no,
yeah, there he goes. He goes just out of barbecue.
There we go. Okay, so he's there. Yeah, I think Andy O'Hara will hold on to it. Burrs very quick. We'll find out more after qualifying. But I'd be putting my money on Andy here to hold on to that championship position for this split. And yeah, Bub now certainly will be one of the front runners for the Pro-Am title. Just wait to see Ryan Green here. He's on debut, which is interesting to say, but hasn't run this season, so decided to give it one last hurrah in the last race.
Sometimes best time to start is now, I guess. Just to put the points into perspective for everybody while the qualifying is still ongoing. O'Hara sitting on 542 net points, because Burrs 493, so a fairly large gap. O'Hara would have to have some kind of an issue or a very poor race for Burrs to realistically be able to close that gap. But the gap to P3 is large enough for them to be quite safe. But then we have Matthew Lamb, Fadli Rahmat, and Oliver Kitching on 373, 355, and 353 points respectively. So very close battle there that can be decided with just a couple of positions. And then when we look at the Pro-Am standings, we have Sean Bubb now leading with 204 points. Actually, Lucas Dowd is in second, but I don't think he's racing. He's only done 3 rounds so far this season. So I think we count him out of this one, meaning that Patrick Oliver on 170 points is 34 points shy of Sean Bubb now. So he'll be hoping that that little update that the Lamborghini received will put him in a strong position to challenge for the Pro-Am class win. And then finally Ben Ferguson is fairly well clear of everybody else in the Am class. He's about 60 points, 70 points ahead, so he should be fairly safe if he has a safe race.
Pat Oliver there sitting in P4, so that's done himself a world of good to be up there now down to P5, but 6/10 off O'Hara's time, which is a 40.6. Kitching is only 6/100ths behind, and Burrs is only a fraction of a second behind that, so really tight at the top. So Pat Oliver here come down through turn 2 into this sweep section and up to barbecue.
Yes, as we can see from the standings at the moment, I mean, not to take anything away from any of the Lambo drivers, they're all fast drivers, but it seems like it's a very competitive little vehicle around Kyalami. Now, certain people in chat, I won't mention names, Jamie Conboy is a moron and doesn't like Kyalami. What do we feel about Kyalami, lads?
I didn't mind it, but I don't know. It wasn't one of my stronger tracks, I will admit. But it was, I think, just driving it was pretty fun. But I think I just got to put more laps in. I didn't mind it, but it's very. I feel like you can get get it very technically wrong if you don't aim for points like in the S's. And coming downhill with Oliver winning, I forgot the name of the course. It's escaped me.
Mineshaft.
Yeah.
And
Oh
these
yeah,
are the
mine shot
crocodiles.
into the crocodiles, yeah. I got that so wrong in the series earlier.
No, I'm a fan of Kyalami. It's one of those tracks we did a 9-hour here at the second last special event of last year. Which is quite a really fun event.
Yeah, I mean, I have an inherent bias, I suppose, being South African, but it's not my favorite track on the game, but it's certainly in the top 3, I would say. It's a really good racetrack for me. That's the thing. It's a fun track to race on. It has technical bits. It has nice little flowing bits. So I think it's a fairly complete racetrack as such. As we see the Hamster, last night's Pro-Am champion in split green with the 50 Belaroonis. Thank you to the stewards, the commentators, and the amazing drivers this season. Thank you, Hamster. And Malak, if you're listening, Hamster for Pro is now trending on Twitter, so let's get it going.
Make it happen. Pro ham indeed, JC.
Back to what you're saying about a really good track to race. I think that's one of the best things about this track is that there are so many opportunities to make an overtake, especially if you can get a good run out of here. Last corner through the kink and up to Crowthorne. You're in with a really good shout of getting a nice move done up the inside. Sort of one line through the sweep.
So just speaking of updates, we're on board here or following Charles Clark around in the Honda, one of the cars that has received probably the biggest update in the latest patch. Changed quite a lot. Apparently it's messed with the setup quite a bit, but it seems as though if you can sort it out, it is a very, very, very good car. So it'll be interesting to see if he's figured out the setup in the short little amount of time he's had. Let's see a photo of the Honda doing 301 kilometers an hour down the straight at Paul Ricard, so that's a little bit silly, I would say.
Yeah, very quick, from what I'm hearing as well. It's still listed as the old car. The externals haven't changed one bit, but it's all internal that's changed on the real car. So I am very keen to give this a go in the next couple of days, and maybe even thinking about maining it for sprint season next season. Oliver Kitching's on top.
Yeah.
He's pretty well settled on his time. There's a Herbert around in the background. No, Villanueva.
O'Hara just coming through Crocodiles now. Easily on track to improve here. Usual to see him not on pole position. So he is up by 10.5. If he can nail the final corner here, he should be. And he does. It's a bit of a poor exit, but he should have enough in the tank to pip pitching at the post for P1.
Yeah, only 700, so Lamb here, only up 10.5 or so.
Out of these new cars that have come into the DLC, which one are you most excited or intrigued to drive?
I mean, for myself, it was the Ferrari Evo. Just because of how it looks, and I don't know, it just looks like a fun car to drive. But based on the little videos we've seen, I think the M2 CS will be the most fun in terms of racing. As we see, Lamb coming around Crocodiles into a final corner here. He's up by 3.5 tenths, lost a little bit on the exit there, but still not bad. He's going to put himself in P4, very close to Burrs ahead of him, but that was a great final lap at the depth there.
Yeah, a great lap in the McLaren as well. The highest of the McLarens there. Here's Neil Wood coming across the line in 17th spot. So I don't think he gains anything out of that. He does improve his time. Didn't see if there's a position change or not. Maybe the one position. But that will do us for qualifying. Andy O'Hara takes pole. By only 7/700ths or so. But it's a 1 hour race, a long way to go. Kyalami known for its carnage through the sweep. Turns 3 and 4. See, the new Ferrari is the safety car.
It is a good looking thing, isn't it?
Very impressive, doesn't it?
So apparently that can do around 294 or something like that down the straight at the Polo Card as well. So it doesn't turn or brake very well, but it goes brrr in a straight line. So it should be quite a fun little race car. And interesting to see, unfortunately for Bob now, who's hunting for that Pro-Am championship, did not get good qualifying in his P16 with Patrick Oliver sitting way ahead of him. JC and Chad saying to do over 300. Yeah, I can see that happening. I think they said it was with a tow you could get the 300 going. So yeah, should be fun.
I can imagine people going down there in the Ferrari and just thinking Jeremy Clarkson speed going all the way down.
Power!
Power.
You knew what's going on. Good vibes, good vibes.
So Weather Watch tells us that it is cloudy at the moment, not a lot of wind, not very cloudy, it's pretty much mostly sunny, 21 degrees for the ambient, so I doubt we will see a repeat of split green last night with the rain and mixed conditions that we had. So it's just going to be a 60-minute, very tough sprint race with a bunch of very fast drivers in contention here. So looking forward to this one getting started.
This just in from Octane. Cup car will make an appearance for red.
Excellent.
That's good.
Sorry, Chris, but
Yeah, I was going to say, if we were going to use a safety car, I'd love to see the M2 be used as well, because that is a safety car that they use in MotoGP, I believe. So, or it was previously, obviously not quite this new, but I think that'll look like a cracking safety car as well. The dash on this car looks very, very nice indeed.
yeah, that's what I just wanted to say. I love it. It's so nice, isn't it?
Yeah, proper Ferrari spec with that RPM bar that sweeps up and a cross.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if you can get some mixed class racing with like the M2 versus GT3s, because it's about 20 seconds lap slower. So the closing speeds and the speed differential through especially tricky bits like this, like the S's, is going to be quite scary and difficult to manage. And it should be pretty fun. As we see the safety car leading us around Leeuwkop, down into mineshaft, into the final sector. Cars will slowly move into double file. Everybody will close the gaps, hopefully, as they should. See Stephen Ty, no, not Stephen Ty, car 230 is in the pits for some reason. I'm not sure if they maybe forgot to take drive or got a disconnect. But anyway, Andy O'Hara takes the lead as the safety car speeds off. He's going to lead them through Crocodiles, Cheetah, and into Inkwe to start the final round for Split Blue this season. And seeing as it's the final round, we're going to give it to Jesse to take it away.
Oh, you put me on the spot there. I love it. Love your work. Righto, getting ready to go. JP, any tips for the front two cars here?
Don't start in third gear.
That's what I was waiting to hear. I was fishing for it. Beautiful. Coming around the final corner out in Ingwe. Ready and raring to go. O'Hara with the lead. Burrs looking to try and take him over. Waiting for the red signal. Oh, the green signal. We're off and racing. Beautiful. Everyone seems to be pretty well the same. Don't no contact, please. That'd be awesome. I don't want to get safety car. I don't want to get that safety car tag on me. Oh, into the corner. Beautiful. 3 wide into the first corner. That's never ideal, but we kept it pretty clean. Oh, everyone came off nicely. Oh, was there a contact back there, or did I miss that one?
No, I think it looks like everyone was clean.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we kept it clean. The clean kept it clean. Beautiful. Awesome.
A little bit of a messy start though with, I think it might have been, it was a burst, maybe? It was a bit wide, not sitting directly behind the car in front, and then again the 2 cars in front weren't really in their bays. We've got contact here with, I think it's Wood in the Lexus, who just gets escorted wide in the braking zone. Dan Siciliano here, McLaren. A little bit more of a gap behind, but the cars behind are going a little bit 2x2 Noah's Ark style.
See Steve Lewis with the fucking green wheels. I mean, I love the Lexus, but it doesn't deserve that treatment. As they come through.
Ryan Green with the green wheels, isn't it?
Oh, is it? No, no, it's got 959s. Oh, he also has green wheels. What the hell is wrong with him?
Oh no, he's a turquoise. Oh, he's looked up the inside. I wonder if there's a little bit of contact.
Yes.
O'Hara's run through already for 46.6 standing start lap, or rolling start lap. Bub now is up, running in 15th at the moment. Paddy Oliver down in 7th. So that's the battle we're watching. We'll watch with interest to see whether those two end up relative to each other in terms of championship position.
Does anyone know the scenario for between Bubneo and Oliver?
It's about 34 points essentially at the moment, net points. So I'm not sure in terms of the drop rounds what would affect that, but yeah, I think it's about the 5-6 positions difference that they should be. If he finishes about 6 positions behind Oliver, he should still be able to take the points. But don't quote me on that. That's just a very rough estimate from man very bad at maths. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
We shall not know until later on this evening when all the results get tallied together, I think.
We'll just go with the closer you get, the better.
Oh, Kitching gets a little bit close to Cheetah there. Manages to keep it safe.
Yeah, bit of a cheater moment.
We've all been there. I think we've all been there multiple times. Anybody who's done more than about 5 laps around Kyalami has been cheated. So it's just
some more spectacular than others.
Yes, that is also true.
I'm just glad I did mine in practice instead of the race though.
I think Avara just did a 40.6 as his first flying lap, so disgusting pace as usual from him. But Kitching and Burrs, Kitching even with that mistake in Cheetah is still in close contention there. So these are the type of gaps that could very easily change in a pit stop. Missing your pit box by even a couple of centimeters will cost you that extra second or two. So Kitching and Burrs are going to be looking, I think Burrs will be looking to get past Kitching as soon as possible. to close that gap to O'Hara and make sure that he stays in contention for the rest of the race. They come up into Buildup or Lion's Head. Beautiful corner, beautiful view of the city in the in the background. It's a good run, but it seems as though the Lambo just has such great traction out of Buildup through mineshaft, uses that for that 100-meter board, hard on the brakes, a couple of different lines through crocodiles. See pitching with the tighter line version with a slightly wider entry. Both work. This time pitching manages to avoid Cheetah. They come into Ingwe, and there's his all over him, but Charles Clark is a little bit wide, and Knuckleback gets through. These two are tied on points at the moment in the pro class, so whoever finishes ahead of each other will take the spoils between the two of them.
Unless there's a split round to play out, or a drop round.
That's also a potential, yeah.
Who are you going for, GP?
I mean, Gorilla never wants to admit that the Aston is a very strong car, so I'm going to have to go for the first car basically in the newly broken Honda. That's very fast.
Thankfully with the 10-second penalty for jumping start lap 1. Definitely not ideal.
No, for sure not. It's part of the trick with the OOR starts that it does not work on the widget, so it's up to the drivers to maintain the 80 kilometers an hour. Makes it a little bit more tricky, but places a lot more onus on the driver for maintaining the gaps and stuff like that. As we see 2x2 here through Clubhouse, make it work so far. No contact. Finch all over the back of Nick Rhoda in the GPR.
Kanai1 and Lawson also with 10-second penalties for the same thing.
It is something that the stewards are very strict on after, I think it was 2 seasons ago at Hungary, when about 11 of us jumped the start. So the stewards got a little bit more strict. We only have the leeway of one. Ooh, there's a very big send by Gordon Finch into the cocktails. Pulls it out. Beautiful move. No, it's actually gone completely wide. Terrible move.
If you just stayed out of the camera shot, it would have looked nice. Oh, look at the side.
Hey, Cheetahs. Oof. That's a
The
second
cheetah's
hand
first
looking
victim.
box.
No, it's Crocodile's first victim.
Oh, interesting that he doesn't choose the box there. Did we get any cheetah deaths last night? I can't remember seeing any.
I don't think there was any. Well, I watched. I'll have to double check. There's someone will be able to tell us in chat who was raced last night. I know Hamster was trying to avoid it as much as possible.
I mean, we're all trying to avoid it. It's just inevitable that it will happen at some stage. You can see the gap between top 3 and Matthew Lamb has grown a little bit. That's 3 seconds, but he has Herbert and Complete in fairly close company. Complete dropped off a little bit, and then we have more solid gaps apart from Charles Clark, who's very close to that. Great barrel shot, and he doesn't remember anything from last night. Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty quick cheetah. That was a proper one by Finch there, so cheetah never changes.
Absolutely doesn't. Saw Ryan Green around. That's what the yellow flags were for. Seen that at the top, minor side of the pit window open banner. Also the 111 stuck down at Clubhouse. So might have had a little bit of contact or just picked up the throttle a bit too early. Talking about championship position, I just had a look at the drop round status for Pat Oliver and Sean Bubb now. Pat has 2 rounds, I believe, where he scored 2 points and 6 points, respectively. So, not ideal when you factor in the drop round. The worst round for Sean Bubb now was 29 points. round 1 lines up. So that would suggest that I think Sean Bub now will take it, unless there's a huge gap between them. We will have to wait and see.
See Ben Ferguson here, the supposed AM, absolutely smashing it again, running in P14, mixing it with the big boys there, in between the pros and the pro-ams. Yeah, I think he has secured that AM title fairly convincingly so far this season. See there again the two different lines. I think Dan taking a slightly defensive line there. Herbert looking for a way past, but Lamb is just putting that McLaren where it needs to be. So a little bit wide there, will be able to get the exit. That's a very good exit. He should be able to get alongside. Will Lamb defend? But move over to the left at some stage now. No, he does not. Herbert around the outside of the King. I'll try and be as late as possible on the brakes, looking for that 100-meter sign. A little bit of almost nearly contact into the braking zone there, but he's driving by both of them. I think Lamb is aware that Herbert just has a better pace at the moment, so maybe looking to let him through and then try and stick with him. It's always an interesting dilemma when you're racing and you have somebody, Jordan Finch here, not going very fast with that broken Lexus at the moment. If you have somebody who's a lot faster behind you, especially this early in a 60-minute race, what's the tactic? Do you let them through and try and stick in the slipstream for a little bit and move forward, or do you just battle until the end and try and keep them behind as long as possible?
I think you just got to work with the other driver and try and, you know, you can have a bit of a battle, but if you're going to be losing time to cars in front, then it might be worth thinking, now the pit window's open, you might decide to duck in for a early stop, given there's no rain on the forecast, so the threat of having to do another stop is fairly slim. It's a ballsy, it's a bold call to pit this early, I would say. There's still 48 minutes of racing to go. The best of your tyres, we're not going to get low enough in the fuel range either to pull out some fast laps. So it really is a case of, do you sit in behind, or do you decide to do the undercut and risk getting overcut just as badly?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we saw it last, I think it was in split yellow with Zachary Smith, who played the undercut beautifully. So there's potential on both strategies there. Speaking of fast times, I just saw there's lap times that across the line there. 140.8, 140.9 last couple of laps. The pace of these top three guys is just sickening, really. This shows the level of quality that we have throughout. There's so many people here who are just absolutely in a class of their own.
O'Hara's not really getting away from these two either, which is obviously it's keeping the spice in the front and the barrels at the front.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, I mean, being this close to each other, as I mentioned earlier, this is where the pit strategy, and not only the pit strategy, the actual pit stop comes into it. I mean, it's you have to commit on pit entry. It's so easy to lose half a second or a second if you're just a little bit easy on the pit entry, missing your box. There's so many things. If your car doesn't start quickly enough on the drop, these gaps are very easy to get pit in the pits. So it's going to be an interesting strategic battle. Will one of them decide to maybe dive in? I think at the moment, Bers is the likeliest candidate in terms of dropping in early. Speaking of dropping in early, Zach Malloy drops in on 46 minutes left in the race for his mandatory pit stop.
That's the undercut Sean Bub now, I think.
I don't think that's going to happen with that 10-second penalty, unfortunately.
No, maybe it's just to get that out of the way maybe and just try and run his own race, run a bit longer. So we'll have to wait and see on that one about how far the difference is when he pops out, how much time he has to make up.
Not sure if Van Vliet made a mistake or something, but he was about 1.5 seconds ahead of Oliver not too long ago. And 1.5 seconds behind the Lamb Herbert battle, so not sure if it's just maybe sometimes on around 15 to 20 minutes the tyres go through a slight graining phase. Times drop off a little bit and the car gets a bit more tricky to drive. Not sure if the Lambo experience that I know we've experienced it in the Lexus this season. But regardless of that, Patrick Oliver has closed right up to the rear of Van Vliet here and is looking to make his way past. Can't get much closer than that coming into the final corner. It's going to be a very important run out of here. Both of them, not with the best exit, but it seems as though Van Vliet got a slightly better exit.
I think it was pretty even. Van Vliet looked a little bit further away from the apex than Pat Oliver, but Pat Oliver going to look up the inside, going to stick the nose up there. It's good defending from Van Vliet, not giving him enough space and making the angle really tight. Seemed to break a lot earlier. Had quite a sweeping wide into turn 2. Bit of oversteer there from Pat Oliver, a little bit too excited on the throttle. We've seen it throughout the season as well, but that's something common with the way he drives. But he's still very quick though, keeping up with Van Vliet. This battle here is still the 3 cars in front. Gaps are pretty much holding. Just gone past Zach Malloy after he's come out of the pits. So Zach Malloy's job now is to just try and stay on the back of this slot so he doesn't lose as much time having to let through lap traffic. He's already lost 10 seconds in a pit stop.
That's always the risk with the early pit stop is you do run the risk of placing yourself in traffic. And especially if you're running a little bit further down the field, there's the chance of dropping behind the leaders like he has here. And then you just continuously lose time as you have to let people through, and then some of them might be battling and being a little bit slower than usual, so it potentially can cost you a lot of time. But I don't think he's going to be losing any time behind these 3. Andy only did a 141.1 on that final lap, so
5 slower. Yeah, 5/10 slower than his quickest, but I think he's doing exactly the right thing here. He's still staying in front of this lot, still got that 0.8 of a second gap, just to give himself a little bit of breathing room. Back to this battle here between the 2 Lamborghinis, running 6th and 7th. It looked really nice out of the barbecue there, down into Sunset.
Diabol's are there. I think there's 2 questions in one thing here. How much does tyre pressures affect the start of a stint versus the end? I'll throw it to you guys. You guys are pretty much very similar.
I think in terms of what he's asking, in terms of putting them up higher to get them up to temp faster, that's definitely not necessarily worth it, especially in the temps that we generally run in OOR where it's not that cool. Problem is, if you're running them a little bit higher to get them up to temps quicker, you're going to be running low 28s for most of your stint, and you're just going to drain your tires so much faster and they'll drop off by the end of it. So ideally, I mean, the tires only take a lap and a half or 2 laps to get up to pressure, so it's not really worth taking that extra risk just to gain a couple of tenths in the first lap. So yeah, definitely not worth it.
I think I answered the second part of his question. You're saying, like you say, you run slightly higher to have a good start, but will it cost you more as the stint goes on? So I assume that's a yes.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean you'll have 1 or 2 laps of benefit, and then you'll be running over pressure tires for the rest of the stint. So there's no long-term benefit from doing that. But getting back to this battle, these guys seem to have their tire pressures in the window. Michael Bad lurking in the background, waiting for something to pop off, but Van Vliet placing that car where it needs to be. We pop over to that Siciliano here. He's right on the tail of the one who has that penalty. A little bit of a iffy line into the first corner, but gets good exit into the X-Bay sweep. Up into barbecue. Up to the little back straight here. It's a bit dodgy there on the exit. Won't be able to get the run. Steve Lewis sitting in the background there, waiting for maybe something to happen. McLaren is so strong through the middle sector here generally. Sean Bubb now sitting just in front of him. He's still a good 9 positions or 8 positions behind Oliver. So it'll be interesting to see what happens through the pit stops. If Bubb now can move forward a little bit, try and close that gap to try and maintain the lead in the Pro-Am Championship. As things stand, I think O'Hara has his championship secured pretty much. Even if he only finishes in the top 3, he should probably still take it. Steve
I think
Matthews.
that 49, yeah, that 49 point gap is fairly comfortable at the moment. The Burst is still 2 positions behind him, so as long as O'Hara can just keep doing what he's doing, he'll hold on. We got Kyalami who's around here, so I wonder if there might have been contact maybe.
It is a cheetah, so it's
True. It looks like a cheetah
two
moment.
options there. Yeah.
Let's get a replay on that one.
Doing the smart swing, jumping into the pits immediately. Get your stuff done. Change the tires, get the damage repaired, serve your penalty, and then focus on the race for the rest of the 40 or 38 minutes remaining.
Lawson with the 15-second penalty for causing a collision. Could that have been him and Lawson getting together?
Not sure if they were that close to each other, but
No, I don't think they were.
because the Kanai one was around Siciliano, who was a couple of positions ahead. So
Oh, that's true. Oh, here we go.
Yep,
It's cheetah
cheetah
moment.
Oh, he's just lost it. Oh.
And then it snaps, and around he goes into that outside wall.
Cheetah strikes.
Oliver around the outside here. Looking for the little cut back, complete places to go where it needs to be to keep Oliver behind. There it goes, coming into Cheetah. Might be.
Oh, good save.
Good save. That was very impressive there. Just sitting up really close behind. And just lost himself the sort of reference on how early he can turn in and how much he has to turn in, and just runs a little bit wide on exit. Invites Michael Babb up into this battle, who's been there or thereabouts throughout.
Man's just lurking, just waiting. But Aston's ready to strike whenever it's ready.
All it takes is a very small mistake, and that battle gets a lot more spicy. Jump back on board here with Steve Lewis in the beautiful Lexus with the ugly green rims. Still looking to find a way past Siciliano while facing a lot of pressure from Ferguson from behind in the Ferrari. Here it goes coming. Sorry.
Ferguson's English. Obviously, crossing positions up there somewhere.
Was he ahead of Bob now?
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
He was, yeah.
Oh yeah, he was between Bob now and Padeo. So, see Bob now make a mistake there at the exit of Sunset. Lewis and Ferguson side by side.
Oh, no.
Just loses the rear a little bit and taps Ferguson around. That's an unfortunate incident.
Yeah, probably look to try and pick up the throttle really early. A little bit too early probably, and try and get the run being on the outside there, so it's going to be the outside for the next corner into the S's, so might have just needed to be a bit more patient on the throttle, sort of give up that position and then try and get a good run through the S's, try and get a move done up the top of the circuit. Do a replay here of what happened. So good run from Ferguson in that Ferrari compared to Lewis, who was a little bit wide Lewis does take the inside line. It's a bit of a fair way back.
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
picked up the
Oh,
throttle
okay.
ever so slightly too early, and Kyle got a bit happy, and unfortunately that put Ferguson in the sand, Patrick Oliver in the pits. So it will be interesting to see where he comes out in relation to the Van Vliet back little battle.
Big-
Bob now must have made a mistake on the exit of Sunset as well, because he was going very slowly when the rest of them arrived, as we get a replay of said incident. So he's not wide. Oh, Nick Rhoda doing GTR things, which forces Bob now to brake. He kept it out of the wall there.
Oh dear.
Maybe a
I think he
mild
did
contact.
make contact, but it's fairly side on, so hopefully he doesn't have too much damage that it's going to be slowing him down, but can't break away from Siciliano.
Good thing about the Bentley is it's fairly unaffected by light damage in general. Once you get into the 12 to 15 second range where it actually starts to affect it, but apart from that, it's a pretty solid brick. It doesn't really break. So, Greg there asking how quick would Cheetah be without the sausage? If you want to experience that, then just jump in a DT4 car and you can just eat the sausage pretty much. Sorry, you were saying preach about the damage.
Yeah, if Bubnow's got more than 10 seconds of damage, then it's going to be really close with Malloy as well. As long as he's had a clean run. Steve Lewis gets 10-second penalty for that contact we saw with Ferguson. So Herbert, Darwin, Van Bard, they're all in the pits now. See Dan Siciliano going to look for a move up the inside. Little had to tighten it up with a little bit of a send, but Bubner does get the switchback done. As long as you can get a good exit, as long as you get on the power nice and early, you can do that by having a wider line anyway. You can certainly tighten down a bit. McLaren really strong through here, so should be looking to try and get a good exit. Doesn't quite get on the power and use all the track, so it doesn't quite get the run. Bentley doing everything it can at the moment to stay in front. Yeah, look at the run from Siciliano here.
Does seem like Bob now is a little bit compromised in terms of pace.
Yep.
So he was comfortably ahead of this little pack here, but since the incident, they were all over him.
Yep, certainly being like a little bit of a plug at the moment, holding some people up.
We see Mr. Barbecue Bun, Mike Real in chat saying this race needs some rain. While I agree, I don't think that looks likely as they dive into the pits. Siciliano makes contact with the rubber there, and Ferguson into the back of him. That was a little bit of a comedic pit entry there. I mean, it's not really an overtaking spot, but they try to make it work. Fortunately, Siciliano's that didn't quite work out there. And jumping back to the front here, O'Hara has gap pitching by about 2 seconds now. There's still memorizing the back of that Lambo from close contact. Still hasn't been able to find a way through. See Virtus in chat worrying about rain in his split, which will be in the North American split. Just as a reminder for everybody watching, we do have the Sprint Series in North America and EU time regions as well. Not only the Sprint Series, we also have the Rookie Series, the Endurance Series, and of course the special events, which is open to all regions to join. So seeing quite a few more pit stops playing out now. Currently, Reagan Herbert, the highest running driver who has completed his pit stop. It's about 8 seconds ahead of Patrick Oliver. I think that was roughly the gap before they pitted, as we see Andre Villanueva jumping into the pits there. O'Hara lapping Bob now, so Bob now came out of the pits quite a bit ahead of Malloy, so wondering whether he decided to not repair the damage. I think he did not repair the damage because he's still ahead of Ferguson as well. So every chance there that he decided he can finish this race with existing damage. You can see there's still quite a bit of visual damage, but it's an interesting little thing with a Kuno's feature, I would say, that it doesn't always fix the visual damage when it fixes the internals, so it's a bit hard to judge whether he actually did do it or not. Regardless, he is still running in P17 at the moment with a couple of people more jumping into the pits. We're looking to get out of the way of the podium sitters here at the moment. It's a bit longer than he maybe could have, but I think that was about as good as he could have done in that situation. Didn't seem to cause Kitching too much time lost there.
No, if anything, Kitching looked like he gained a bit of time compared to Burst behind. Heading down the straight, Burst does gain some time back through turn 2.
Yeah, so see Ferguson there, not far behind Bob now. It'll be interesting to see the pace differential if he can catch back up to the back of them. Siciliano seems to have lost out quite a bit in the pits there. See a penalty for Darwin for speeding in the pit lane. Bit of a rookie error to make. So here's an example of, Jordan Finch, who had his cheetah moment earlier with a very second-hand looking Lexus, obviously did repair the damage, and it's looking brand spanking new. As he has Patrick Oliver for company behind him, he'll be looking to get out of his way come turn 1. He's also in a battle with Nick Rada, so he didn't want to lose too much time here. It's well out of the way. It's a fairly robust blue flag movement. Oh, that might cost Nick Rada there a little bit. No, he gets a good into turn 1, or turn 2, sorry. As we see, Patrick Oliver, not Patrick Oliver, Andy O'Hara and Oliver Kitching jumping into the pits. Because Burst decides to stay out, he probably thinks he has better pace than he has been able to show. He'll be trying the overcut. And this is going to be an interesting couple of laps to see out how this plays out between the three of them. See Complete and Uncle Bat jumping into the pits as well. Siciliano with a 10-second penalty. I suspect that is for the pit lane entry maybe. So this is a very important phase of the race for Burst. Finally has a bit of speed back ahead of him. There's no slow cars coming up that's going to compromise his run. Depends on how much fuel he has on board, I suppose, how many laps more we can go, but we'll be looking to pump out some mid to high 40s and try and jump Kitching. O'Hara and Kitching are out of the pits already. The gap is still about 2.7 seconds, so neither of them had a particularly poor pit stop.
We think Burst will stop this lap. Do you think he's found enough pace to get past? Just see what happened with the pit lane entry here. That's certainly not the way to go, and that has compromised two people's races as well.
Burst stays out. It's very interesting to see what he does as he crosses the line. Unfortunately, we just ran away quickly, so we're not able to see the lap time there. But one has had a bit of an incident at what seems like the sweep. Maybe just a bit too much curve coming into turn 3, which is an easy thing to do. as we see with
Pat
a little
Oliver's in the
bit
pit.
again. It's interesting.
He's in
Wonder
the
what's
pits.
going on there.
It'll be interesting to see
What
what
has
happens there.
happened to the 777 car?
Unless he's had a disconnect of some sort or some kind of technical difficulties.
Okay, we're on board with him here. Oh, don't tell me. I know he gets going alright. And then, oh no.
Oh,
No.
no.
It's blue flags in front of him. Kanaya one. Comes across his nose, and that'll be why Pat Oliver's in the pits.
That wasn't
F's
enough
in chat.
damage. I guess that's a bit of an angry exit, I would say.
Yeah, he should first off go 30 as well, so...
A light version of a rage quit, pretty much.
Yeah.
Frustration sometimes does take over. It'll be interesting to see if Burrs dives in. No, stays out for another lap.
So last lap was a 41.1, so only 2 or 3 tenths slower than his best. See what it is now when he crosses the line and see how much time he's found. It's a 41.1 as well, so he's banging in some nice quick laps. 2.5 tenths there, just slower than his best.
So I guess
pretty decent on 25 lap old tyres. Pat Oliver saying he got a minute of damage from that contact, and he's in chat talking to us now.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but not ideal. But
These things do happen.
part of racing.
Yeah.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see what type of lap times O'Hara and Kitchen are running at the moment. That gap between them seems to be fairly stable at the moment. Matthew Lamb into the pits. Wondering if it seems as though before the unfortunate incident there for Patrick Oliver, it seems as though between him and Bab and Van Vliet, they all had either pretty poor pit stops or just not great pace between the pit stops, because the gaps had grown quite a bit between all of them there. As Burrs comes through the mine shaft, Matthew Lamb comes out of the pits, and he is behind Reagan Herbert fairly comfortably. He was overtaken on track before, so makes sense. Burrs seems to coming around the last corner here. Will he stay out another lap?
He's in the pit lane. He's in. This is the moment. O'Hara's coming through Crocodile. Cheetah.
No, he's coming through Leopold at the moment.
No, my bad. I was looking at 2:30, not 23.
Michael back with a pit lane speeding penalty. That is a very silly penalty to get, Michael. Alright, coming through mineshaft. Burrs still stationary at the moment. He will be stationary for a little while longer. O'Hara taking crocodiles perfectly as usual. Kitchen seems to be losing a little bit of time to O'Hara. Burrs is moving.
This is going to be close, I think.
I think Burrs has them. I think Burrs has.
I think O'Hara will on exit with closing speed. It'll be close.
Might have
really
Kitchen.
close. There it is. I think Kitching might be able to get him too. Yeah, look at the closing speed of that Lambo versus the Aston. Oh, really close. Gonna take some time to get the tyres up to temperature though, to pressure. So Kitching, he's gonna pounce. It's gonna be now. It's a fairly comparable exit. Barbecue down in the sunset now. Can't quite gain enough time there with the warmer tyres. Down through the S's. I think Burst might be able to hold on here. Just be faster on some tyres that aren't quite optimal. Yeah, Kitching just hasn't gained enough time in all of that, so I give it to Burst now. Kitching now has to try and hunt down the back of that Aston and really put some pressure on.
Yeah, I think in general Burst maybe had a tenth or so in terms of pace on Kitching in that first stint. So I reckon once he gets the tyres up to temperature, he'll be looking to try and gap him a little bit. As I say, that Kitching is basically driving up his exhaust pipe. I'm thinking Burst is going to have to defend into turn 1 here. And the tyres should be pretty much up to temperature now, and he should be able to get onto the pace that he would like to run. Kitchen not quite close enough to do anything into turn 2. Gap to O'Hara is 2.7 seconds from Burst. It'll be an interesting watch to see if he is able to close that gap. I mean, O'Hara doesn't really make mistakes, so it's going to come down to Burst just driving very, very fast. Yeah, but that's the power of the overcut, I guess. Just getting a bit of clean air, running a couple of quick laps, and managed to get ahead and into P2. As they come through the S's there up to loop up the hairpin, it seems as though Burst has started settling down now. Gap is stable and he's going to start pushing. The gap to O'Hara has grown to 2.8 through this lap. So I think barring any disastrous incidents for any of them, I think this might be our top 3 for the race. Can't honestly see Kitching having the pace to get past Burst just on pure pace. It's when you're only a 10th or so faster than somebody, it's not an easy track to manage those overtakes. So I think we're looking at the top 3 here. Not trying to burst them, I promise, but it'll be interesting to see the last 18 minutes. Of course, the good news, not for Patrick Oliver, but good news for Sean Bob now is with Patrick Oliver out of the equation, that pretty much guarantees Bob now the Pro-Am Championship if he can hold on to it and not put it into a wall again. You see Ferguson has caught up and got past him now, but I don't think that matters to Mr. Bob now too much at the moment. So as there's a little bit of a lull in action, just a reminder to everybody, next month we do have the Spa 12 hours, which will be another weekend full of racing, a bunch of team challenges, some support events. It's a great shout for the rookies to jump in and those who aren't generally available to race in sprints but want to have a bit of a race with some of the fastest guys in OOR. And it's always good fun, some interesting combinations of cars, makes for some very close, good racing, which will be another great weekend. And of course we still have the Endurance Series second round coming up in, I think it's 2 weeks, might be next weekend.
Next weekend, not this weekend, coming next weekend at, where are they?
Nürburgring.
Nerbs. So it'll be a good track for 3 hours of racing. Looking forward to seeing that.
Burrs was the fastest lap too on that lap.
140.3 I think it was, which is a pretty freaking fast lap. And gap to O'Hara has come down to 2.1, so Burrs is not gonna, sorry, 140.6, which is still a ridiculously fast race pace.
That
is still incredibly fast.
Could we say game on here towards the end of this race?
Well, I don't think Burrs is gonna let Andy have this just throughout no effort. So 1.9 seconds now. He is driving the absolute wheels off that Aston at the moment. And definitely going to start making Andy sweat a little bit. Bible saying he doesn't like Nürburgring. It's a good track. It's a very difficult track to overtake on. There's very few spots that are good overtaking positions, but it's a fantastic track for very close racing. And yeah, I mean, we did the Enduro there 2 seasons ago or a season ago, and that was fantastic fun. Started at 6 p.m. in-game time, so went into the night, which was quite a nice race. So I'm really looking forward to that. I see McDaddy, who is Jesse, in chat saying he's not a fan. Explain yourself, young sir.
I just, yeah, I know. I've done a lot of laps on it, but I just cannot. I know, I just don't enjoy it as compared to other circuits. Burrs was a 140.3. Wow.
As we see Bubnow and Ferguson next to each other again. No contact made, fortunately. Yeah, I mean, Burrs is just absolutely pounding out the laps with ridiculous pace at the moment. That gap to O'Hara slowly shrinking. Pretty soon he will be within slipstream range, and that is when the real battle will start.
But going back to the Nürburgring question there, yeah, just I don't know, I just can't. I just could never find the flow. I did it in rookies about 6 months ago. Just could never find the flow. And we're trying to do a few laps around, getting ready for the June series. I just, yeah, it's not clicking with me at the moment. But I'll see how I go.
I will say that in general, I do love the track, but that little Mercedes Stadium section, turn 3 and 4, is just it's such a crap segment to come through. Especially with the track limits there, it's so easy to invalidate the lap. But yeah, no, I think it's a good track. It's as mentioned, not easy to overtake. Breach, you have your opinions?
Yeah, I do like NURBS. I'm a bit of a fan of it, especially with the elevation change as you come down into the bottom hairpin, and then up through the Schumacher Est. It certainly makes for an exciting little run. But yeah, that turn 3-4 stadium section is can just get in the bin, I think, in GT3 cars.
Yeah,
really difficult to get right, and it doesn't really offer a lot of opportunity for a clean overtake, given the tight line you have to take on the exit of 3 to really open up 4 for that run down towards turn 5. So I will be keen to watch, but not quite as keen to race it.
Will, however, say something that might get me stoned in the racing community, but I've said it before and I stand by it, that Nordschleife can get into it as a racetrack. As a hot lapping track, fantastic, wonderful, but as a racetrack, no, I don't like it at all.
So wouldn't that be fun for a special event? 12 hours in Nordschleife.
No, you can get in the bin too.
It'd be great fun.
No, I don't know. I don't see the appeal, honestly. I've never taken the time to really like learn it. So I've done a couple of laps around it, but never completely learned it. But I don't know. It's just it's not a racetrack. It's a track day thing.
Kind of like a Sunday drive, scenic drive.
I mean, I would like to go there in reality and build something like a BMW M2 around there or something. That would be great fun. But yeah, I don't know. As a sim racing track, I just never got on with it.
Very happy hello to Jan Tully. Welcome. You're a bit late, but it's good to see you. Hope you are well as well.
In chat, great supporter of OOR, which is what makes this community as good as it is. But getting back to the racing here just for a second, Lucas Burrs is under a second behind Andy O'Hara, and there's still 10 minutes remaining in this race. I don't get confused by long tracks. I don't get confused. It's not a racetrack. Okay? And Spa, I don't like because I just don't like the show, but I think it's a very overrated track, personally. And I know that's a controversial opinion amongst races. I don't care.
Explain your overratedness, sir.
It's not that special. It has one special corner, which is OOR Radion. But the rest of the track is just a pretty normal racetrack. There's nothing special about the rest of it. And OOR Radion, people just like it because it's deadly and there's a lot of accidents, pretty much. So, I don't know. I've never seen what makes it so special. And maybe that's just, as I said, my opinion. And my opinion is not a fact, but it is what I think of it. But I maintain that it's not because it confuses me. I know where all the corners go. But yeah, getting back to Kyalami, because it's within a second, but he's not closing up to the rear of O'Hara just yet. But O'Hara facing some traffic with a really slow GTR going through sunset there. Hopefully Nick Rada gets out of the way. He does not in a very efficient manner. That's going to allow Burst to close up a little bit, but his exit will be compromised with a GTR just sitting where you would generally want to get on the power. So both of them getting pretty much equally affected there. The Bentley does a very good job of getting out of the way, although he does affect Lucas's exit ever so slightly. Yeah, I mean, Spa is an okay track. It's my least favorite track in this game. That's what I will say.
Least favorite?
Yeah, in basis. But I can see the appeal for endurance races, especially because it's such a big track, quite a long track, and allows for a fair amount of overtaking. So in that sense, it makes sense. But speaking of overtaking, he's in with a shot here. If he can get a good run out of the final corner, it seems as though both of them got a pretty good run. I'm not sure if the Aston has the legs on the Audi. Come through the King. He's definitely not close enough to make anything happen at this time. He does, however, do that little racing flick that we all like to do, just to say, hey yo, I'm here. This is going to be a battle for the next 8 minutes. Let's get it. So interesting to see. Kitching has dropped right off the back here. So, I mean, 3.5 seconds, not a massive gap, but definitely a little bit of a difference in pace between these two guys and Mr. Kitching today. The question is, where will the Aston be strong enough to manage an overtake on the Audi? Yeah, Craig, Bibles. Sorry, yeah.
I'll say it was a very good question.
Yeah, sorry. Bibles and Craig talking about rain at Spa, which is always a likelihood. Oh, he's very close here, coming down into Mineshaft. Could he try a little send into Crocodiles? Quite close enough, maybe 2 turns behind. It's going to make him look. O'Hara planting the car right in the middle of the track, looking for the little cutback, not quite going. Very close coming into Cheetah. Send into the final corner is always a possibility if you get a good run, which he does not over O'Hara. Gonna try and stick it right up that exhaust pipe and get a good run into turn 2. Very close to him this time, but again, I don't think the Aston has the straight line speed. He's a bit closer than the previous lap though. He's definitely going to go for it. No, he's not. He's just making me look like a fool. But getting back to the rain, yeah, it's based on the last couple of special events. I would say rain is pretty much a certainty, especially at Spa.
I feel like if I do race, I'm going to need a lot of wet practice, I think. Especially being Spa.
Yeah, it's easy. I mean, Rouge Radion is fantastic in the rain. This is all over the back of O'Hara here. I mean, this unfortunately doesn't do much for the championship battle, but it is a fantastic battle to watch on track. These are two of the fastest drivers, probably not only in OOR, but in the whole region, most likely in this game as well. and it's great to see two absolutely ridiculously fast and clean drivers battle out toe to toe in the final 5 minutes of the final round of what has been a fantastic sprint season.
You had Vertus in chat asking what car is a special event. It will be GT3s for the full 12 hour. But yeah, we did have listed whichever channel that was in.
I'm trying to find it myself. I'm struggling.
I think I've got it here.
There's,
We did have a
there it
Porsche
goes,
Sprint, Jag Sprint, Ginetta Super Cup, and the Team Challenge. Of course, being in your GT3 cars. So that's the 3 extra cups that will go on. Ginetta Super Cup running over 2 nights. Not sure if that'll change though with the new update. We will.
I'm sure there will be some changes for sure there.
Yeah,
must be.
I think the Porsche Sprint will have to be in the 992 without a doubt. Maybe run the Ginettas.
Maybe run the
M2
M2 instead of the Ginetta. Yeah, that'll be a placement.
And then maybe the Ferrari Challenge instead of the Jag. For a bit of a mix-up. But yeah, this battle here really close. We head into the last 5 minutes. So,
there's look for a move around the outside of them too there, but O'Hara is a bit too experienced for that to be an easy move. Fireballs saying that downhill left in sector 2 is interesting a bit. Cool corner, which is a pretty apt name for cool one. Again, tricky corner in there, especially. Seems to have lost a little bit on the exit of the hairpin there, a little bit further back than he was in the previous lap. Quite interesting to see, on the previous lap he absolutely flattened the curve at Cheetah, and the Aston just absorbed it and kept on going, so that's must be a fairly soft setup to be able to do that. Not quite close enough this time to do anything. There's probably another 2, maybe 3 laps remaining after this. So yeah, still lots of time for anything to happen.
It'll be close to 3. Really close to getting across the line. Trying to get across the line with 5 or 6 seconds left on the clock, so...
Do you reckon Burrs... good place in there. Do you reckon Burrs has a bit of a crack towards the end here? Just give us what he can, or do you reckon he's...
No, he's not going to sit behind him if he has to. He's gonna try.
It is the last race of the season, and sort of championship will be wrapped up. So it's pretty much already wrapped up if they finish 1 and 2, whichever way that is.
I think it's more bragging rights at the end of the day than anything else. That's at this stage.
That was another question. Is there any corner more deadly than Cheetah in ACC?
I mean, half of Bathurst. Does that count?
I'll count that. Being there myself and racing in the game as well, it's definitely deadly.
It's a bit of a poor run out of Cheetah there. Speaking of Cheetah, it's a bit closer this time than it was the previous lap. Some back markers coming in which could have an effect on this. So definitely going to be 2 more laps as they cross the line with 1:48 remaining. Yeah, we can't really shy away from this battle at the moment, as Aston does a great job getting out of the way without affecting the leaders. The last thing you want to be doing as a blue flag at the moment is affecting a battle for the lead with less than 2 laps remaining. Virtus, in terms of the finals, there's not a final. There's a bit of a change to the whole thing. I can't give you the exact details, but there will be. The whole reason the sprint season was a little bit different was in anticipation for the DLC. And of course the track DLC has taken a bit longer to come out, and the cars have only just come out. So yeah, there's going to be a bit of a break, it seems, between the sprint seasons. waiting for additional tracks and stuff like that. So that's why there's no finals at the moment. But they are, Malak can give you more information or more detailed information, but they are looking at a sort of combined championship throughout the year, through the sprint seasons. So that's something to keep an eye out for. But saying that, as we come into the final lap, Buzz is very close to O'Hara, still not quite close enough to get anything done. He's going to have to get a great run out of Nkwe here to try and make something happen. He's not close enough, I don't think, to get a run into turn 2. There's not a lot of other great overtaking opportunities around the track, maybe crocodiles, but it's a fairly easy corner to defend against. So unless Andy puts a foot wrong here, I think Buzz is going to have a tough time getting through. As they come around barbecue, down the little straight into Sunset, beautiful corner. Very tricky to time for when to get on the power. Both of them, of course, know how to do that perfectly. They come into Clubhouse. First, very close now, but Andy's going to get a great exit with the line he took there. Left hand into the S's. Closing up on him, but I think he's close enough to do anything into Leopold. But he might get a good little exit here and try for the run down in Crocodiles. Close, but I don't think he's quite close enough. And he's going to be able to spark the car middle of the track and force Buzz to do something really spectacular to get through there. And that is not quite the spectacle he was hoping for. And he makes it through without any dramas. 2 more corners remaining. Both guys get through Cheetah. One last opportunity remaining. Will he send it? O'Hara blocks. Is he going to try for the little cutback with a drag race to the line? There's a Lexus on the inside. They both avoid, and he's going to cross the line within about 2/10 of him. That was an absolutely fantastic race between the two of them. Kitching crosses the line in P3. And then a few seconds back, we have Reagan Herbert, who's going to cross the line in P4. Matthew Lamb, only a second behind him in P5. And we have a fairly large gap back to Marcus van Vliet and Michael Babb, who both have penalties that will drop them down the field. Maybe a position or 2. But yeah, that was
Babel drops a spot, but Van Vliet will hold his position even with that 5-second penalty. So Bab might actually drop 2 positions. It'll be close with Clark and Phillips. See, Bab's now just about to cross the line. Bab does cross the line there. Clark.
But won't be able to see the update until...
Yeah, we'll be able to do the maths though. 1.5. Yeah, so Bab will only drop the 1 spot. Phillips will finish about 7 or 8 tenths, maybe 1.2 seconds or something. My maths is not good at the moment, but yeah, I think it'll be pretty close in behind. Yep.
Unfortunate thing for Bab is the car that puts him through the penalty is, of course, Charles Clark, and they were both tied on points coming into this, so we might lose a position there to Clark in the championship. As Piper crosses the line here in P12, with Ferguson behind him, but now going to cross the line in P14, and that should secure him the Pro-Am Championship, which is a great result for Noski, who of course missed most of last season with a broken elbow. Good to see him back and competing and actually winning the championship. As Craig Dale said, great to see Andy being challenged. I mean, I think Burs might feel a little frustrated there that he couldn't get past Kitching a little bit earlier. He may have had a better opportunity to get the win there, but still fantastic run to close down a 3-second gap on somebody like Andy O'Hara and challenge him for the win there. Great racing.
Unlucky for Pat Oliver though. Hell of a season, but just unlucky.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's always a bit of a nightmare when blue flags get involved in a in a battle. But overall, been a fantastic season. And yeah, we look forward to a little bit of a break in the off season for Split Blue, but don't go away yet because we still have Split Blood or Split Red to finish out the sprint season for Octane Online Racing. And of course, we will be joined by the Pro-Am champion, Mr. Sean Bubnow, in just a second for the final race.
Any picks for Split Red before Bubnow comes and I bow out for the evening?
I mean, Justin Cruz. I don't think there's much chance of anybody challenging Cruz in a Porsche around Kyalami. But there's quite a tight little battle for P3, 4 and 5 as well. So yeah, we'll get into the point standings in just a little bit when the qualifying is going on. But I can't look past Cruz. I don't know if Breach maybe has some inside information that he wants to reveal.
I don't think I have any. Cruz is, what's that? 44 points in front of Corey Sweet. So Cruz will have to have a fairly unfortunate night.
Interestingly, Sweet has more overall points. It's just with the net points for the drop round. Obviously, Sweet is behind Cruz at the moment.
Yeah. The drop round for Corey Sweet is Paul Ricard. She's got 104 points in. And Cruz's best is 44 points. So he's pretty much already used his drop round. So it will actually be close, I think.
You know you had a good season if your worst point scoring is 104 points. So that's a fairly solid season by Corey Sweet there.
Can I give some explanation on the drop round? I've seen it, but I don't know the whole concept of it.
Yeah, so go ahead. So the way it works is your best 5 scores out of 6 rounds will be taken for your score, and that'll be your points tally at the end. So you can have a bad race. I can't remember correctly if that also applies a DNS where you didn't start.
Yeah. I think
so yeah, if you have a DNS, that is counted as your drop round.
So basically, if you score 100 points in 5 rounds and 80 points in one of the rounds, then you're going to get 500 points. Whereas the 80 will drop.
Not too easy. Just want to make sure that I had it right, but thank you for the explanation.
Just before Bob now joins, I'll be back in 1 second.
Yes, I might leave you with the fort, mate. I just have to jump downstairs for just a minute. I'll be back.
Too easy, all good. I'll do my best.
Entertain him.
Oh god, here we go. There we see here Corey Sweet putting a few good laps down. At the moment, everyone getting those setups ready to rock and roll. Hopefully everyone's happy with theirs, and it's gonna be a cracker of a race, I think. Might need to, just for the sake, I might throw out a few couple of fun facts about Kyalami. Just give me a moment and I'll try and entertain you as best as possible.
So yeah, as we come back here, on board with Mr. Corey Sweet, who's currently sitting in P2 in the championship. As we have a bit of a lull in the action as we wait for them to kick over to qualifying, I think it's a good opportunity to look at the current point standings for Split Red. So as mentioned, Justin Cruz is ahead by, 24 points? Ahead of Corey Sweet, so 496 versus 472. And then Ben Floyd, 381 Stefano Duty on 361, so pretty close there, and then John Sonokas on 316 is the top 5. Pro-Am, we have Alex Valentini, who is, I would say, fairly lucky to still be considered a Pro-Am, but he is leading by quite a margin, sitting on 260 points ahead of Pete Chalmers, who is on 179, and Shady Samuel, who is on 162, so pretty close battle there for P2 in the Pro-Ams. Mitchell Bendai and Ronald Robertson, another 40 or so points behind those two. And then in the AM class, we have JLS, Jason Leonard Scott, who is leading on 75 points with Bernie Ronquillo, 41 points, and Kevin Peterson on 13 points. So Jason Leonard Scott having a pretty good season. He should potentially take that win, unless he has a fairly disastrous final round.
Quick question, a quick fact before I bow out. What year do you think Kyalami was inaugurated?
So I feel like everybody's expecting me to know this because I'm South African, but that is not the case. I'm going to guess 1961.
That is correct. I don't know if you googled that, but
I honestly didn't Google that. That was a guess.
oh, okay. No, you got it right. Well done. Well done. Done well. Here's the Pro-Am champion of Split Blue.
Good
Sean
evening.
Bubnow.
Sean Bubnow,
Good
Mr.
evening.
Noski, champion of the world. Do you want us to sing your praises or just continue commentating on the race?
Well, I mean, I'm happy with it. It hasn't really sunk in. I wasn't sure how I was travelling. Had a bit of a sketchy race, but yeah, I'll take it.
Well, you had a good finish, and what was it, P14 in the race?
Yeah, something like that, 13, 14.
And got a bit lucky with Patrick Oliver. But, you know, luck goes both ways in
unfortunate,
races.
Paddy. Not exactly sure what went down, but
Just had a little bit of a run-in with some back markers, unfortunately, but it happens, you know, but well done. Great consistency throughout the season, and nice to see the new mechanical elbow that you have has made you faster.
Yeah, the mechanical arm is definitely an improvement. Still getting used to the pain values of it, but we're getting there.
Does that mean Bubnow for Pro as well?
I mean, yeah, shush about that stuff. No, that ain't happening.
My luck, just note that there, hashtag Noski for Pro, please. Just add that to the trending.
We'll need to look into that. Yep, there was that on there.
That's a noted, so that's all we needed.
I think my work here is done. You guys have a lovely evening. Hope everyone enjoyed the stream. So if you do like it, give it a like. Share it around. And I'll just catch you guys next time.
Hey, Jess.
Thanks, Josie. Cheers, mate.
Oh, Jacobs has a nice slide through there. Massive amount of anti-lock. God, I'm talk right now.
Yeah, it seems to be a GTR feature around here. They do some pretty sick drifts. But yeah, you seem to have a fairly, shall we say, eventful race. A couple of little incidents here and there, but overall good pace.
It wasn't too bad. It was just unfortunate. I took a bit of a gamble after I had a bit of an incident with a back marker through Sunset there. That I continued the race with like 25 seconds of damage in the Bentley. Chose not to repair it, and yeah, just tried to drive through the pain and suffering of it, really.
Yeah, we were debating how much damage you would have received. I didn't expect 25 seconds from that impact, to be honest. Must have been we only got the heli shot of it, so we didn't see the full brunt of the impact, but that's quite a bit of damage.
Yeah,
but I think
the nose hit and then the tail came around and sort of left as well, and I was like, oh, okay. It looked square, but it wasn't square in the car.
Well, I think at the end of the day you made the right decision not to repair there because, yeah, you still maintained position and actually made up a position or two off the pit stop.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. As I said, it just took a little bit to sort of get the characteristics of it under wraps with that damage, but once I sort of got it, I could kind of get a little bit out of it, but it just wasn't on pace of what I was doing in practice and in the quali. But that's racing for you, and yeah.
You seem to have a good little battle with Ferguson there for quite a few laps, so it seemed like a fun race.
Yeah, that was actually quite fun. We sort of seen like one corner he'd do a little oopsie, and the next corner I'd do an oops, and then be side by side, and then oh no, it was something else. And yeah, no, that was real fun. There was slight contact between him and myself in turn 1, which I think he got a little penalty for. But other than that, no, that was real good fun racing.
Yeah, it seemed like a little bit of door banging, which is not unusual in GT3 racing. There were no malicious intent in any of those.
Nah,
Just
not
a
at all.
little bit of crash racing.
Yeah, he already sent me, tagged me and said sorry for the little tap, and I was like, nah, man, don't even stress. These things happen. But here we are now for Split Red, as we see them doing their opening out laps, which is quite daunting in the 8-minute qualifying.
10 minutes?
Oh, 10 minutes, sorry. Felt like 8 when I did it, bloody hell.
That's how fast you were driving.
Yeah,
Slow down
just
time.
super speed.
So you see the two Kovacs boys in the Lexuses here. They got out early. Lexi. I don't know. There's a multiple.
Is
There's
it
two
Lexi?
Lexus. There's one Lexus and another Lexus. So two of them. They got out first, which will make John happy because he has a habit of getting stuck behind the wrong car in quali. So now he has absolutely no excuse for not putting the car on pole.
I would still say that we've cursed him though if he doesn't.
No, he has no excuse. There's literally, it's been said now in commentary, no excuse for not being on pole.
I can get behind that. It's definitely not our fault at all.
So yeah, as said, I don't know if you have a little bit of a wild card you want to call. I can't really see Justin Cruz not taking the win here with how strong he's been and how strong the Porsche is around here. There's just, I don't see the GTRs being able to challenge him, and even maybe Ricciuti.
Yeah, I was going to say the Lambos are absolutely bullets here. So I mean,
although I don't
Ricciuti's
see Ricciuti on the entry list. Maybe he's a little bit behind 23rd.
Yeah, towards the back of the pack. I'm pretty sure I saw him lapping before though, but I could be wrong.
Okay. So yeah, he might be one to challenge in qualifying maybe, but Cruz is so consistent, so fast, and the Porsche
Especially when
is
he
just
gets
an
that
absolute
fresh
weapon.
air.
Exactly. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I'd like to see Corey Sweet at least give him a go. You know, it's fairly close between them at the top of the championship
Yeah,
table.
I was going to say you can't really count out Sweet or Floyd either. They are both very speedy boys on the track, and I'm sure as hell they're not going to this one back and just let Cruz try and walk away with it if that is going to be the case. They'll definitely be fighting tooth and nail to the end.
Sure, as we see John going through Cheetah there, he's going to be the first one to complete a lap in this qualifying session. And we follow Andreas Wolf here, Hold My Beer Racing, which sounds irresponsible but fun.
Diabol's Bender's probably in the pits because it's not raining. Yeah, it's sad times. As we see John do a 41-3. Oh, sorry, Peach.
No, I was about to say exactly the same thing. That's a pretty solid banker. You see Floyd there within 3/100ths of him. Missing a little bit further back. Missed a couple of rounds this season, unfortunately. I think he could potentially have been in with a shout for the championship battle based on the pace that he's had. But anyway, he is here today, so hopefully he can get his nose in amongst it.
Yeah, I think there's the top of the table is quite close from memory. I haven't actually seen much of the points split red, but just generally battle week to week.
A quick reminder, Justin Cruz, Corey Sweet is about 24 points difference between them. Ben Floyd is about 90 points behind Corey Sweet, but him and Ricciuti and John Sonicus are all in a fairly tight battle. So a lot to play for. As I said, he's missed 2 rounds so far, and he's still sitting in P8 at the moment. So that just gives you an indication of how competitive he could have been had he been able to participate in more races.
Yeah, as we see Cruz coming to the final corner here, just set his, I guess, banker lap. I'm not sure how much of a banker lap this is actually going to be, considering the pace he's had all season. As he jumps straight to P1 with a nice buffer of 6.5 tenths. There you go, lads. That lap has been set. Everyone else, come and get me.
I think that's considered a pretty solid banker around these parts.
Wish I could be that fast.
Yeah, no, I just, he's really improved. I mean, I came through a rookie series with Justin Cruz. We had a couple of amazing races, very tight, and he's just developed so much. He's such a fast driver, not only in qualifying but race pace. As we see a GTR there with an epic drift through Cheetah. I'm not sure if he saved it. There's no yellow flag, so he may have. Valentini coming across the line in P5, very close between P2.
Shout out to Valentini as well. He has been rapid as well all season, especially for Pro-Am. So, you know, good shout out in that McLaren being that, well, only 8/10 off the pace, I think that is from looking at it.
Yeah, he has fantastic pace. He's been involved in a couple of incidents, gotten a couple of penalties here and there, unfortunately, which has affected some of his race results. But in terms of just simple outright pace, he is definitely up there with all the top guys in this split for sure. Bender with the rain dance racing. You see it?
Okay, that was a GTR leaving stage left for Floyd. Obviously, the S's, these curbs can be quite nasty if you hit them the wrong way, especially the entry. But,
just to note there, Floyd did improve. There's only 4/10s behind Cruz there. He's put himself into P2 ahead of Sonicus. As Cruz goes a little bit faster anyway, just to rub it in.
Is he going to try and do a 39? That is the question.
I mean, he's going to try. The question is he able to do it? I don't know. Bets in the chat. Will he do a 39? I'm going to go with not today.
I'd love to see it, to be honest. I mean, I think Philippa got close last night. I think she did a 40.2, I believe, in the Porsche. Yep. So there's definitely the potential of it, but I don't know how good Cruz is at this track. Whether he can find 4/10s or not, we'll soon find out.
Corey Sweet puts it back into P2. John Sonicus has improved, got it back into P2. Things at the top of the table, chopping and changing as everybody completes more laps. Valentini moves it back up into P4. Ricciuti coming through the final sector here. McDaddy saying a 39.941. That is optimistic, but not impossible. Ricciuti going to cross the line. He'll be looking to get his nose in the battle. Not quite good enough, but he is into P7.
Sure, he'll have so time for another 2 laps. So I mean, there's still time to try and find those extra tenths that everyone sort of craves when you are hot lapping around here. I mean, it's easy to figure out where you're lacking the pace, but very hard to make it up, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. As we go on board, follow missing around. This is going to be his second last lap judging on the timer, so he'll be looking to get that Audi up into the top 3. Doesn't seem like he has the pace today to challenge Cruz, but I certainly think he'll be able to get in amongst Sonicus, Sweet, and Valentini and Floyd there. Comes around Cheetah, keeps it nicely on the track through Ingwe. Seems like a decent exit as he crosses the line. Where will this put him? Moves up into P6, very close. I mean, between Valentini, Floyd, Nissen, and Ty, and Ricciuti, there's like 1.5 tenths. So just fantastically close racing, and includes Sweet in that as well. So great to see it.
You gotta love the fact that, like, literally, other than Cruz being 6/10 ahead, that the next 8 drivers are separated by 0.3 of a second.
It's actually a fairly close qualifying overall. I mean, if you look, apart from Cruz, who's a little bit ahead of the rest of the pack, all the way down to P20s, or even a little bit further down, it's not a huge spread.
It's good to see. I think Split Red has been the most competitive throughout the season in terms of qualifying times anyway, from memory. I could be wrong, but I mean, they've all been, it's such a strong field, like everyone's just super close. Always good to see on the track. Oh, as we see Ty abandoning his lap.
So we have Justin Cruz sitting on 2 pole positions. Ben Floyd has 1. Alex Valentini has 2. Jerry Samuel has 2. Wallahay has 1. Of course, some of those are reverse grip poles, but you know, it's fairly well spread out between the drivers in the sprint.
Yeah, no, it's great to see. We're on board with Neighbour here, sitting in currently P13. I think prior to start of qualifying, he was complaining that he was a little bit lower than that in the old Kovacs voice chat, but no, he looks like he's got his head around it a little bit better now, so hopefully he's happy with his result this time.
I mean, you can't just show up on race day every time and figure out what track you're racing that week and then expect to be on pace immediately. So takes a couple of laps to get up to speed. Gets a good run out of it. Looks like Pete Chalmers up ahead had a third of a wide run through the final corner. Will either of them improve? Chalmers does not, Neighbor does, and gets into the top 10 with a very respectable 141.4. Chuti, will he improve on his final go around? He does,
yes,
puts
he
in a
does.
belter of a lap. Look at the top, look at the times. There is 2-1. Oh, that's not the line through there,
JC.
Mr. Thornboy.
Oh, preach. Hello, sir.
Yes, hello. Hello. I was just about to say that JC had to reinstall ACC. The update had failed it, and he came in with about 6 minutes to go. And just managed to get in and at least set one lap. A fair way down the field from where he'd like to be. Bit of compromised preparation, but I'm sure he will be one to charge through the field. Of course, the new 992 Cup car is going to be our safety car tonight.
Just look at the times there from P2 all the way down.
That is
crazy.
insane.
It's a second across the top 10, but it is, what's that? That is
4 tenths between the top 8.
Yeah, 2 and a bit.
That cruise out of it.
It's 2 and a bit tenths from second to the 9th.
So if you take cruise out of it, it's a second between second and P19, basically.
That is insane.
Which is just silly. That is great competitive driving throughout the whole split.
It just shows how good the quality is in the split and across the OOR, guys. I mean, I'm sure there's great quality in all splits, as I said, but this has probably been the closest qualifying I've seen over all the weeks. So, hats off to Split Red.
Seems as though we're having a bit of a hard time to get drive at the moment. Oh, we have to wait for the countdown.
Yeah, there's a timer there, JP.
Yeah, but usually for spectator mode, it's not the case. But
30 seconds.
All right, I think we'll get a nice view of that brand spanking new 992 Porsche GT Cup car. As there it is, thing of absolute
beauty.
Not beauty. It just looks like a Porsche. They all look exactly the same.
It's got a fat backside.
The junk in the trunk.
The junk in the trunk.
It's a Porsche. It's a Porsche with a massive wang.
I want to drive it.
No, look, I'm not saying I don't want to drive it. I'm just saying in terms of looks, they all look exactly the same.
The dash is incredible.
That's my first look at this. This is insane. I haven't got the DLC yet, so...
I've got the iRacing version of this. Came out sort of back end of last year, and it is a lot of fun to drive with no TC.
Notable difference being ABS in this one versus the iRacing one, which does not have ABS.
Yeah, it's very raw, screams very loudly, and their season in Australia in the Carrera Cup, that'll start at the Grand Prix.
Which I'll be attending, hell yeah.
Yes, so will I. There's the air jack port for it.
Yeah, these cars are, I mean, this is supposedly a fairly big upgrade over the previous Cup car just in terms of drivability and the downforce that makes it not easy to drive, but a little bit more accessible. And of course, luckily the ABS does help most drivers get in a bit easier, but they are fantastic fun. Especially, they make for such close racing because it's so closely matched, obviously with the VOP being the same. But yeah, it's one of my... That's why I was excited for the Ferrari GT, because the single make races are always great fun.
Yeah, I can't wait to have a bit of a dabble in them, I think. I think we've now got a little bit of a break before the next season kicks off. I think we're also hoping for the track pack to eventually be released as well, which would be good because it should spice things up a little bit, give us a bit of extra flavour.
There's a fuel flap on the front quarter panel there. I'm not sure if that's the refueling port for it.
Yeah, it's got pretty much straight from the road going car.
On the right side. On the right side. I know this is
That's
still the
the
left side.
Jack.
The other right. The other
Jack.
right.
Yeah.
A little bit front quarter
Just
panel.
behind the front wheel.
There we go.
There it is.
There you go. He has found it.
Yep, so instead of the Porsche GT3 car where it has a big filling port on the bonnet, right there, it's just your standard go to a Bowser top up sort of one.
Yes, the safety car has sped off, and we have the double file for split red in the final race of the season at Kyalami. Justin Cruz on pole in the Porsche. John Sonicus managed to put it into P2, so great disappointment for not being on pole, but I guess we'll have to set up second. Corey Sweet and Stefano Ricciuti, second row Valentini, and then Floyd, Samuelson, McIntosh, Kai, and McLaws running out the top 10. As they come across the line, green lights usually under the gantry, and they should go green right about now, and we are racing. Seems like a good pull away for everybody so far. Looks like John got a great run. He might be ahead of Cruz here, but Cruz will have the inside line coming into turn one. Cruz late on the brakes. Very close to contact there. Ricciuti tries to send it around the outside. A little bit of contact, but everybody's still staying on track. Squeezing into the sweep here. Nissen gets pushed wide, and that is Dave Neighbor around. Gets missed by Perud, but unfortunately that McLaren decides the yellow flag was not for him, and he speeds into the back of the GTR. Safety car is deployed. Okay, Ian, I mean, I've done it once. We can get over it now. Okay, it's ages ago. We don't have to keep repeating.
And we've cursed again. That could have actually ended a lot worse considering where the contact was, because yeah, that curb on that right hand side is very deadly at the best of times, let alone being 3 wide through there.
Yeah, it's such a squeezing point as well, because turn one is such a wide corner, and then it just halves basically in terms of the amount of width you have. And quite a few people usually underestimate that. And as you said, that deadly little curve that bounces into somebody else, and then just all hell breaks loose pretty much. Interesting.
Wow, first safety car for the round.
Yeah, interesting.
Kyalami almost got safety car free, but Split Red, or you know, as we've known them in the past, Split Blood, has lived up to their name.
Incredible considering Kyalami is the home of the car park.
Yeah, it is that. Yes.
Yes.
Although I think Zandvoort now has taken the title for shortest start crash. I think.
Yep.
Yeah, that was
definitely
literally 3 meters, I think it was, and
yeah,
that was it was definitely interesting.
Ben Dyke lost 6 places in that. Never lucky. Yep, it's unfortunately the nature of racing, as we saw in the previous race. People getting affected by battles that are not their battle, but it's one of those things that happen.
Just to answer your question in chat there, Diabols, with the new rules of the safety car, they are allowed to pit for damage, but obviously if it's before the pit window, no, it won't count towards their mandatory, or if it is within the pit window, they're not allowed to change their tyres. So yeah, right now we haven't got the pit window open. It opens in another 2.5 minutes. But the safety car basically will not be sitting around waiting for all these cars basically.
That is a very second-hand looking McLaren. That is the McLaren that boshed into the back of the route. They will not stand down. So yeah, as Noski said, and as Octane Online Racing said there in chat, they allowed to pit and do whatever they want. But obviously, not being in the pit window, it won't count as their mandatory. So ideally, under the safety car, you just want to pit and quickly fix your damage. Maybe add a bit of fuel if you plan on running a bit longer, but no real point changing your tyres unless they're completely square after a big spin.
Unless you've got bald spots from hell. But yeah.
So safety car won't necessarily stay out for an extra lap, allowing them to catch up. It's your decision pitting under the safety car, but it's not the safety car's prerogative to wait for everybody to catch up. So safety car should be in this lap. A couple of cars that have pitted are out already. They should be able to catch up with the pack. A few people still in the pits.
The only other addition to the safety car rule is that the safety car now holds and maintains 80k an hour. it doesn't go any faster than that. So that allows for that slight catch up that if you are taking damage repair, it does give you that little bit more time on the lap to catch back up to the guys ahead.
And this Porsche, I mean, it's a Porsche, but it actually looks quite nice on track, I have to say. I'm not a... I think Porsches are the great driving cars. They just all look exactly the same, which gets a bit boring after a while. I think there's no diversion from the design philosophy, I guess.
But if it ain't broke, you don't fix it.
Yeah, true, but if it's a Beetle, then maybe do something a little bit more impressive, you know? It's just, I don't know. That's why, if I was in the position to purchase any of those type of cars, that's why a Lamborghini or a Ferrari will always be the choice over a Porsche, even if the Porsche has much better driving dynamics. It looks so much nicer.
I just don't think I'll fit into one of those cars.
Oh no, for sure not.
I think I need to
Just
chop
a
up like half my leg or something to get into it.
Sorry, bitch, go.
Yeah, just a little update from the OR bot in chat if you haven't seen. Because those who pitted were before the field was caught by the safety car, or the field caught to the safety car, that's the initial safety car called phase, and they're allowed to pit, and the safety car will wait. So we are going to get another lap under safety car. So
now, is this an opportunity? Because now the pit window is open, and you have another safety car lap. Is this an opportunity to dive into the pits, fuel up, finish the race on those tires? I mean, Kyalami is not too heavy on tires. It's definitely an opportunity. I think if I was in the back of the field, I would potentially think that's a option. What do you guys think?
I think it's a long way to go with a lot of fuel on board. So it would be a really big call if you were, if you're at the back of the field, you're already at the back, then I would consider it. Get your mandatory underway. Obviously, the safety car is not going to wait around for you. So really is all about just trying to drive to the back of the field as quickly as you can after you've done your stop. But I would probably more than likely try and stay with the people around me with what they do. I would do an alternate strategy, not this early on. Say if we get another safety car after this though, I would consider doing it now. If we get another safety car sort of on this next lap, that would be, I think, the best idea.
Yeah, second safety car might get there.
Interesting little scenario, because that's not really a scenario we've had before with a pit window where you had to wait. So you sometimes had people who had damage and they just fix the damage, fuel to the end of the race, and then just run long. But now we need that extra little lap that we had. So yeah, be an interesting call, but nobody seems to have made it, so irrelevant to the current race.
Will depend on safety car. If there's a safety car here, a safety car goes off track. That's an interesting way to take the exit of mine shaft. There's another safety car after this. I would certainly be considering doing the alternate strategy of boxing early. Normally with where my position is, down in 19th and 20th, that'll be my goal, I think.
Yeah, you mean the home of the Pro-Ams, where I am?
The home of the Pro-Ams, yes.
I know it well.
You know it so well. You won a championship. I mean.
Hey,
as
is key.
that's true. As we see, Cruz is now in control of the field. Johnson is trying to stick to him, not wanting to get caught out sleeping. Cruz takes the quick run. I think John has been caught a little bit sleeping. Sweet with a good run behind him. I'm not sure if the GTR is going to have the legs on the Lexus, especially in the tow. But it's going to be a close run down to turn one. As we see Richie with the fastest lap there of a rapid 2:23. And
very close. Oh, no, Shitty, sorry.
John runs very wide into turn two. Sweet gets the position. That's not a fantastic restart there for Sonicus. Richuti still in P4. Valentini has lost out to Richuti there, I think. He was behind him, if I'm not mistaken. But so far, Linus, I say that
there's a car in.
Rude is involved in another incident.
You think after racing the Bentley all season, I'd know what it looked like, right?
Well, yeah. It's the one with the round lights at the front.
Yeah, and you're driving the right side or the wrong side of the car? I'm confused.
Right side. All the other cars are on the wrong side.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So apart from the little incident there with Garud, everybody seems to be fairly settled down and running the line astern. Bender unfortunately has a game crash. That is a big old F for the final round there.
Sorry to hear, Bender.
If it makes you feel better, the safety car also nearly crashed, so you know you guys have something in common. And as we return to racing, seems to be fairly easy going at the moment, not really much happening. We'll see some battles developing over the next couple of laps as the tyres heat up. Doing those 2 laps behind the safety car will be quite tricky, keeping the tyres up to temp, so it'll take a lap or 2 for everybody to get back up to speed.
Floyd wants to go around the outside on the tyre here, into turn 2 technically. We can't forget the King is actually classed as turn 1, even though I forget about it all the time. But just doesn't have the legs on the outside, unfortunately.
It's not an easy place to make an overtake around the outside, although it is nice and wide, but the problem is it's so easy to get a good run from the apex there. As we saw Valentini run a little bit wide, but not wide enough to allow Kai to get a nose in. Macintosh here with a very angry looking Audi behind him, of course missing involved in that one incident which dropped him down a couple of spots.
We're on board with Ross at the moment. Another Audi looking at the back end of that Ferrari up ahead. As we see it, very nicely done to save that. God, I thought I'd cursed another person yet again. Not this time.
I remember the first time I did a lap around here when I just downloaded the game. Obviously, Kyalami was the first track I had to try because it's South African and I've never actually driven it in a game. So I took the Ferrari around there and I hit that same little curve and I just absolutely died of death. So fantastic little save there by Mr. Ross. Jacobs here trying to make his way back up to field, looking for a move on Peterson there, nothing doing, going in crocodiles.
Might give a shout out to Cruz. He definitely doesn't want to hang around by the look of it, doing a 41.3 as he's basically flying lap. So he's well and truly on pace already, especially with fuel.
Yeah, for sure, that is a very quick lap time. But I suspect you will see quite a few little 40s as the race progresses from Mr. Cruz and possibly Mr. Sweet as well.
Yeah, once that fuel starts dumping out, the cars get a little bit lighter, the tyres still in that nice little window. Sometimes we'll slowly creep down. But you know, time management does sort of come into factor a little bit, especially if you're battling with someone. You don't want to really overcook your tyres too much or ask too much of them too early, because you do want to have that extra little bit if you do want to try and go for that overcut or undercut. You want to make sure that outlap or inlap is definitely a very punchy one, to say the very least.
So on board here with Stephen Pye in the Porsche, he's all over the rear of Valentini after Valentini made a little mistake on the previous lap, allowed Pye to get into that slipstream range and he's in there. And yeah, Valentini currently the top running Pro-Am. Pye will be looking to make his way past and try and catch up to that little train of Route GT cyclists and sweep up ahead.
I've also got a comment there about the delivery of Sony. Oh, sorry, John.
No, I think that's been like delivery, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm not really remembering things, but yeah, I think I know exactly which one you're talking about.
I mean, you remember Ben Bike.
I remember it, but I was just saying I don't really want to remember it.
You see Floyd here attempt the same move we saw Sweet try a little bit earlier. Nothing doing. The Porsche is so good on the brakes, it's very difficult to outbrake it. And they settle back down behind each other there. Benjamin Perud with a penalty. for a collision on lap 3.
That would have been under safety car.
I think that was the restart. That was the little incident with the GTR that we saw, maybe.
Oh yeah, quite possible. Yeah, sorry.
So gaps at the front there, Cruise 1.3 seconds ahead of Sweet Sweet, 1.2 seconds ahead of Santos. Gaps slowly but surely growing a little bit, not massive gaps, but currently this little train here is the closest battle in the top 10.
Yeah, you got Floyd also just a couple turns behind, which is you can see that Nissan just behind the Porsche. We'll definitely be trying to look at a way of coming a little bit closer and hopefully getting Porsche on raw speed down the straight before Porsche's strong suit comes into play, unfortunately for the Nissan.
So very important for Floyd here. If he's looking for that overtake, he needs to have a very good run through Cheetah and Ingrid. But the Porsche is so good on acceleration, as you see in front there. Oh, he runs a little bit deep. That's not going to give him the extra he's wanting. McIntosh with a good run in the Bentley, but I don't think the Bentley quite has the speed on the GTR, especially in a straight line. You can see that gap growing ever so slightly as they go into turn 2 braking zone. It seems that the braking board is gone, so that might be catching a couple of people out.
Certainly shouldn't be using.
Oh, you go.
Certainly shouldn't be using the braking boards as your markers, but I know I get to help it every now and then.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you look at it as a reference, and then when it's not there, one lap your brain is like, wait, no, I have another reference, I just can't, and then you keep the corner, and then the next time you figure it out again. But yeah, as we see here, 3 Kovacs cars close to each other, the 2 Pete's and Scott with another Kovacs car not too far behind. This is of course a split pool of Kovacs cars. Chalmers looking for a move on Bechtold. Oh, sorry.
Bechtold had a bit of a compromised exit out of Clubhouse, so was very open to Chalmers having a go. Whereas those 2 Lexus do some synchronised twitching.
That was quite an interesting little visual glitch there.
At the same time.
Oh.
It's a good run on Bechtold, but again, as I said earlier, Porsche is very good on the brakes, so you need to be side by side pretty much as you go into the corner. I think if he can get a good run out of the final corner here, he might be able to get him into turn 2. He cruised there with a 40.8, so prediction correct in terms of the stupid pace that he's been able to manage.
Yeah, well, you definitely called that out before, so he'll probably now be trying to consistently do those laps. And once again, everyone from P2 down will be going, excuse me, can you not use the right pedal so much?
Exactly. So Bechtold did enough in that final sector to keep the gap here. Always a bit of a risk when you have Kovacs cars this close to each other, but so far so good. Bibles in chat saying he used to use shadows when he first started playing ACC. I made very much the same mistake coming from GT Sport, where there was no real day-night cycle, so it was pretty static shadows. And yeah, it was a bit of a change when you break 20 meters later, a couple of laps later, because the shadow has moved. So yeah, as Breach said, not good to use references that could potentially move.
You can always do what I did when I first started, and you know, find your brake marker, and then realise that you've never done wet practice before, and then have your first wet race, and then realise that it's not the same, but that's too late when you're on the track.
You mean not the same as if the track is wet and not dry?
Yeah, correct, and then your brake
okay,
markers are just, yeah, they're not there.
I would have thought that would be a fairly logical assumption to make, that being a wet track is not going to be the same as a dry track.
Well, look, I didn't think that far ahead, alright?
Ty with a little bit of a cheetah moment there, but he manages to keep it in check. Now we have Nissan with a great run on the Bentley coming out of Ingwe.
Definitely give him a shout into turn 1, or turn 2 I should say. I keep forgetting the King's pass of the turn.
There's a chance we have 3 wide here at some stage.
So,
Audi decides to just tuck in behind. Smart.
Oh, McIntosh runs very wide there. Unfortunately, opens the door Missing to have a nice one into this left-hander here and gets the job done.
I don't think he's going to come back at him though. But the Audi will have the inside line for Sunset. McIntosh just has to come out of the throw a little bit earlier. Yep, good job. Oh, couldn't quite tuck back in behind, so he's going to be vulnerable to McClaw's behind. He comes through into Clubhouse. McIntosh just stays ahead of McClaw's and does get that move done. It was good, nice, fair racing through the sweep.
Actually,
Have
just
each other
going to
enough room.
Oh, sorry, mate. Just by referring to what Octane has said in the chat there, that is actually a very good idea. I've never thought about going out and taking out the markers and then doing my practice laps. Usually that's extra mindset of not relying on pit boards and that. As we see Viney go on the inside through the hairpin.
No, that's Chalmers.
Chalmers.
Oh, Chalmers,
Viney, yeah. So, no, it is Viney.
No,
Because
sorry,
that was Chalmers. That was Viney.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
fine, but where's Chalmers? I feel like somebody's missing.
Yeah, I think
Alexis
Ashton
missing.
might have.
There he is. Right in the back there, maybe. Or is that JLS?
I think that's JLS. I think Chalmers has gapped them. Look, the gap's 2 seconds, so.
Maybe there's a bit of an incident or a possible curb-related off track that allowed the Lexus to get through there, the Lexi. We definitely don't think of a better name for that.
The Lexicons. Sounds like the less impressive version of the Decepticons from Spawn. Yeah. So, yeah, these guys are having a nice little battle here. JLS and Scotty Rockford going to look to get past Bechtel as well. Cruz just running a little bit of a hot lap session here. He's already 4.5 seconds ahead. Sonicus not able to do much to retreat, to sweep and retreat the same on Sonicus, but these two guys are going hammer and tongs at it. And then Floyd going to look to make his way past Valentini as quickly as possible, try and catch up to that top 4.
These two have had quite a few battles over the last turns. Oh, as we see Valentini go slightly wide on exit. Floyd would definitely be trying to use that to the advantage, but I'm just not sure how good the Nissan Brick is in this section of the track. I know it's pretty rapid in most of the other areas.
It looks pretty quick in the toe.
Pretty quick there, but the door gets closed on him, unfortunately. And we come up to Cheetah. He can hopefully close that gap slightly and get a very good exit here on the last turn. We'll see if he can pull it off.
Bit of a compromise run there for Valentini. That's going to compromise Sweet as well, but disconnect. That's a disconnect. No, Floyd. Goodbye.
He has been stopped by the indestructible. Wait, what?
He's still going. Never mind.
He's back.
Still back.
Hey, welcome back. I don't know what happened.
Nothing happened. Everything is as normal. As we see Misson on the east side of high. You make it sticks around the outside. He's going to have the inside into the sweep, but that's back behind Misson. That's a safe move there. McIntosh getting interested in Thai as well.
I'm actually confused because he's not on the timing sheet either.
Maybe
has
because
gone?
Did he disconnect? Because he disconnected before they crossed the line and reconnected afterwards, so maybe he missed the lap or something. What has
Let's go
happened?
on so we can see Ty on Valentini on track, I guess. There is no one driving around Valentini.
So he may have been defeated by his lack of internet, unfortunately. You see Stephen Thai here fighting for his life at the moment. McIntosh looking around the outside of Lukov. Shane McLaw is just in the background there waiting for something to kick off, for an opportunity to get through these guys.
We'll see the Bentley go deep on the inside there. To mount the curve slightly, which will potentially give the Porsche a run here, which it does. As they go side by side. No, he's backed out of it. Probably the safer option there.
Yeah.
It's definitely close. As we
and
see
Steady Ty's
come into
box.
the pit. Yeah. Probably not a bad thing to do. He might be suffering some damage or even some tyre issues. Oh, Viney, well done to avoid that.
Oh, a little bit of excitement there. That was interesting.
JLS will go, hi Barney, how you doing? I'm going to try and take a posse from you. How was the dirt?
Now is, of course, a good time to look at a different battle, so we don't have to see Ben Buck's car in the background.
Oh, come on now, you love it.
No, I honestly,
I think-
no. It's so ugly.
I think we had a vote last night, did we not, on the on some of the rookie liveries that were put in?
The best worst liveries, or is the worst?
Yeah,
best?
yeah.
Yeah.
It was the best worst liveries, and I just think that Van Dyke's livery there is the worst.
Yes.
The worst of the worst.
I think it's like it's bad as we get a replay here of Floyd.
Oh, this is Floyd. Here we go.
Dun, 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 dun. I was a bit early. Dun.
I was gonna say, good brakes on the net.
I was just about to say that seems like some kind of a hack if it can stop that well, but I know. I mean,
Floyd, you need to submit Motec, sorry mate, after that stop. I want to see your brake inputs.
Unfortunate for him there with the discount. I think getting back to Ben Dyke's absolute horrific thing of a livery. I don't want to call it a livery because it's not. Livery is a nice paint job. That is just some kind of an abomination that has been slapped on top of a very nice looking car. But the little cherry on top is just those wheels. Like the livery itself is ugly but passable, and then you put the wheels on there and it's just like, yeah, okay, we have reached peak ugliness as we see JLS dive into the pits.
Chat will decide, is Van Dyke's livery good or bad? There is a poll, let's go.
How do you vote on that? Is it good or bad, yes or no? So, is the yes for good or bad?
Let's go. Yes, it's good. No, it's bad.
Okay.
Oh
no, we're updating. No, wait.
No, we're changing it. Wording is key here.
Is Van Dyke's livery bad or worse?
Yeah, that's about as much as you would sum it up, really. See, Convoy in the unfortunate position of being behind him, so he has to, he can't look away because he needs to follow him around the track.
And I thought he might be saved by the lack of bodywork panels on the back of the Audi, but no, you just get the stripe right down the middle of it. It's the thing that pisses me off most about that livery is the stripe isn't centered.
Oh, there you go. There's your third option. Can't see it. My eyes are bleeding.
Every time after split red race, I basically need to go and look at pictures of puppies for about an hour, just so my eyes feel a little bit better about being in my body. And that's the effect that it has on. Just look at the wheels, honestly.
If you have a look at the back here, have a look where the Audi badge is. We come to the back. Look where the pink line is. The pink line is not centered around the Audi badge. The edge of it goes down the middle, but it's not even middle.
Even the edge is in the middle. Sorry, just being so distracted by this. Sonicus has dived. Okay, he was behind Missin, but he's dived into the pits. I'm not sure if he maybe had an oopsie because he's behind Valentini and Missin there. So.
As Rockford almost gives Porsche a bit of a tap into the turn.
So yeah, we have a couple of our Ricciuti has pitted, Stephen Pye has pitted, and obviously Sonic is currently in the pits for his suite as well. So it'll be interesting to see where those guys feed out. I think Cruz is in a class of his own today. But yeah, the battle between Q2 to P6 is still ongoing. Sweet had an excellent Sonicus. Okay. Maybe we could potentially get a replay of that if possible at some stage, please, Mr. Director. But thank you. Anyway, we have Valentini currently ruling in P2, Missin not too far behind, and McIntosh is still part of that group. Carl Johnson running in P5. Thumb up this stuff, Amster. That's a completely different application, my friend. So yeah, need to work on the wording there.
I believe the terminology is called phrasing.
That is true.
On board here with Rockford. He'll be looking at the back of this Porsche going, I've seen it, oh no, he's changed his mind. He's going to get out of the dirty air, come in for that tyre swap, and possibly a bit of refueling, hopefully, because he's been running heavy fuel. And then hopefully he will have a good jump coming out of the pits to try and get that overcut. Is it overcut or undercut? I get confused.
That is the undercut.
Undercut.
Ooh, stop and go for an unslowed rejoin. Ooh, I'm very excited about this replay now. And here we go. As we see, very sweet Cheetahs gets cheetah, almost saves it, bumps into a little wall, does not hold the brakes at all. That is pretty poor racecraft, honestly. Unfortunately, he ruins two people's races there, including his own. So I think he's not going to want to see a replay of that, to be honest.
You must always hold your brakes. May not save the incident, but you can at least make your car somewhat predictable.
Yeah, it helps other people avoid running into you at 200 kilometers an hour, which generally doesn't have positive outcomes on cars when they hit standing objects at speeds in excess of 200 kilometers an hour. So, yeah, an unfortunate incident there. I think that is pretty much the end of both of their races. Sonicas would have received quite a bit of damage from that hit, not only on the car but also the pit wall.
Yeah, the pit wall doesn't move.
Yeah, as we saw in your split when there was 3 cars going into the pit wall at the same time, pretty much.
Yeah, I believe I was one of them.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's you would have
I think I
had
was
a
the
fairly
front
good
of the
view of that.
train.
Yes.
You were. Yeah.
So 2 minutes and 30 seconds of damage for John there. Unfortunately, that is the unfortunate thing is it's a completely avoidable incident, which makes it a little bit more frustrating. But anyway, the racing continues. As we see, Justin Cruz is in the pits. And he is out of the pits, or he is rolling out of the pits. I don't think he will have any problems from anybody behind him, seeing as 2 cars behind him have been removed from the race, essentially.
I think before his pit stop, if I'm not mistaken, I did sort of glance over at the timing sheet, and he was 15 seconds up the road.
Yeah.
So I dare say, yeah, pretty much a hot lapping. Oh, well done on the save.
Is he just bored with the race and he's getting into little situations where he has to save the car to spice it up? Because he was the same incident before the hairpin and a couple of laps ago as well, and he brilliant save both times.
Yeah, maybe he's watching the stream and trying to help us out.
Fair enough. We've had enough incidents, we don't need more. So you can just run your race, Cameron. That's it. Just to focus on the running on the track. So currently, obviously, Cruz is the highest running pitter. He is the leader of the race, effectively, once the pit stop play out. Awesome Johnson dive into the pits as well. On board here with Jason Lennon Scott behind his teammate, Mr. David Neighbor. There is no love lost between any of these teammates, so he will certainly be looking to make something happen if he can.
Let them have some fun. It's Kovac's drama.
It's not really Kovac's drama, it's just Kovac's things, pretty much. We get him on board here from John's perspective as he comes around Cheetah. And he really, as far left as he could possibly be, and just unavoidable, honestly. Just you don't like seeing that happen. An update on the poll for Ben Dyke's livery. Currently sitting at 61% of people's eyes are bleeding, so that's actually a lower number than I expected, but I'm assuming the Rise and Benjamin White have some alt accounts voting.
It's the right way the vote should have gone.
Oh, 100%. It's just it's like a certain election in a certain country a couple of years ago where the right person won, but an unfortunate amount of people voted for the other person. You know, it's one of those things where you just don't really want to see it. But see Sherry Samuel here exiting the pits in would be effectively P18 behind Jamie Convoy, who is currently in P17, who's just out for a cruise. I mean, it's such an appropriate name when he has one of these races. So Valentini, who was running P2, is in the pits. It'll be interesting to see where he comes out in relation to Nissen. Where is Nissen?
That Audi does not seem to like any of the bumps off the curbs. Just had another moment at sunset, another little one there that he had to catch. Looks like a very, very twitchy Audi right there for Cameron Ross. Maybe that is why it's a sink spinner.
Is it just me, or is missing from the timetable, or is he currently leading?
I think he may be leading 54. Car 54, I think he's missing, is it not? Car 54 is missing, so he is leading the race at the moment, coming up to the top part of the circuit.
Yeah, so we wait for him to decide when to box. I think he's in a fairly tight race with Valentini. The gap wasn't particularly big between the two of them. What are two colors that shouldn't go together that sometimes just work? Some that make color liveries that make fashion colors. Well, if you want the rule on what not to make, just look at the outside of this Audi. That just avoid all of that, and you have a pretty good indication of where to start.
Get it away.
Purple and orange works pretty well. You can see, who was that? Tiny diving into the pits, Chalmers as well, Aaron Lee as well. Nissen still staying out, he's the only one running this long, it would seem. Benjamin Poole as well. And Mitchell Penlight. Yep, yeah. I mean, the car doesn't look too ugly from this view. You can still see them around.
It's the wrong shade of pink. I think it's the wrong shade of pink. It's like trying too hard to be pink and also too hard to be purple. I do like Scott Rochford's livery.
Yeah, the purple actually works really well on the Aston here. It's like the color on Lucas Burr's car, it's quite an unconventional pink, but it really works for me on the Aston.
It does, yep. And because he uses the two shades as well, he uses like a darker or a darker finish on it, and it really, it does complement the very light shade of pink that he uses for those accent lines.
Yeah, just a shout out to Preach as well. I think it's at Preach Designs on Twitter. If you want to see some of the liveries he creates.
It is at Preach Design, no S at the end, so Preach Design, all is one. Yes, doing a fair few liveries at the moment for some of the people in and around OOR, and hoping to expand out a little bit. OOR racing, a bit of ACC, that sort of thing. So
Enough said, I've seen some of the designs and they are all pretty epic. So I'd rather take your opinion than Mr. Benjamin Wright, who's so defensive of Ben Bike's livery. I think I'll stick to the one who doesn't very much. As we are on board here with Bethel, he still has a very purple, very angry Aston Martin behind him, who has unfortunately run a little bit wide there. It's going to give Cameron Ross the opportunity for a move. He's brave enough to take that curve again. Looking around the outside of Leeuwkop, Rockford pulls it up nicely. Runs a little bit wide on the exit, but you can get a good run on that line. And Ross, unfortunately, can't make the move stick, but Rockford will be looking to close back up to Bethel and hopefully get through. Ross, I mean, this Audi looks twitchy, but he's not slow. He's running pretty good pace. Very cool. Bethel is very wide. Keeps it out of the wall. Well done. Good rejoin. Keeps it nice and tight. Forces Ross wide.
that's exactly how a rejoin should be done. Be predictable. Try and join us parallel to the track and stay to the side of the track you were on. It's really good driving after probably having the cheater moment that he didn't want to have tonight. he'll now try and face down Ross again, if he can stick with him.
I think if you survive any kind of cheater moment, it's a good
night.
yeah.
This is
The
true.
fact
Here we
get
go.
it out of
Eagles
the
man here.
wall.
That is that's a cheater moment.
Nah, well done.
Fairly.
Avoid the death.
It's the track designer just had a little bit of evil in mind when he made that. He made a nice sand trap, but it narrows so quickly. So it's like, yeah, I'll give you something to slow you down, but not too much. You know, there's still a little bit of death awaiting you if you're not careful.
Ross goes for this move with the hairpin again. Going to go a little bit wide. Try to get the inside line, I guess. Get the drive. Get a bit tucked in behind that Aston. And down through mineshaft we go. As we jump to Convoy, you can see the battle up ahead. He's probably want to get involved. There's that lovely livery again that JP loves so much.
No.
See, neighbor there, he looks to have had some form of damage, at least a little bit, but not too bad. And there's Wolf there with a move on Jason and Scott to get ahead of him. Scott trying to fire back. Not able to do it at the moment. Justin Cruz just chilling out, popping in some laps. He's not even going particularly fast at the moment. He is just lapping because he knows the race is essentially in the bag. Has about an 8-second gap to retreat behind him. This battle, after the pit stops have played out, still raging on. Listen, looking for a way past Valentini. Chuti about 4.5 seconds up the road. Not out of reach, but it would be a pretty mammoth effort to catch back up to him.
Really shout out to Rashidi in quali just before saying that he's probably fairly competitive here. I think he's got P7 if I'm not mistaken. Or even 6, so he's done well. He's jumped up about 4 posies so far.
Yeah, obviously helped out by 2 people ahead of him dying of death, but yeah, showing good pace, good consistency, and good strategy so far to make up a couple of positions. As we see Bechtel here go for the move. Ross has run a little bit wide. It's going to be a drag race down through mineshaft. Always a fun place to go side by side. See that Audi just has a little bit of pace on the Porsche in a straight line. But the Porsche has fantastic brakes. Going to be able to stick it around the outside of Crocodiles. He's later on the brakes. Both of them avoid contact. Both of them stay within track limits. Side by side through Cheetah, not a great idea. Bechtel makes the move stick. That was fantastic racing by both of them.
That was good racing. That was really good performance from Bechtel to really tighten Ross's line through Crocodiles. It was he really turned down, but still gave him the space, scored him to the inside curb, and then was able to let him stay there on the exit. Didn't try and turn back across him, and that was just a really good run. One of the advantages of.
Sorry, a very appropriate team name in that situation with Racecraft Ltd. That was fantastic. Yep. Racecraft by both of them there. We go back on board here, or following Sam Misson, still looking for a way past that very annoying McLaren that keeps getting in his way. So far, not able to make anything work, but he is within half a second of him fairly consistently. And the McLaren is strong in all the right places, so not an easy car to overtake, especially when the pace gap is so small. So Rude finally dives into the pits. He was the last of the runners to complete this pit stop. He's going to have to serve that 10-second penalty. He's going to drop quite a little bit back. I think he pit under the safety car to repair some damage, and then he just decided to run long as well. Listen, they're making Valentini think about a move, but not quite able to pull it off. Look a little bit further back, Paul Johnson, fairly close to Aaron Lee. And then the Jamie Conboy, Cameron Ross, Stephen Bechtel battle is still ongoing as well. And this is the next closest battle on track. Full House Racing, Samuelson and Audi behind Alex Valentini and McLaren.
There's actually a bit of a side story to this battle here. Misson is only 3 points behind Valentini. Currently, their lowest rounds. Misson has a 0 point scoring round, which was at Suzuka and at Zandvoort. So yeah, so he will get, he should get points because unless Valentini can score more than 19 points, which I think he is doing, currently running in 3rd place, he will lose the 19 points, so he'll be 19 points worse off. That will put him 16 points behind Misson. So Valentini to maintain 7th in the championship. He will need to have the 19-point difference points. So Valentini, I think, has to finish in front of Misson, no matter what here.
I think it just made my brain hurt a little bit.
Yeah, I tried to work it out in my head. I don't know if I've done that justice at all. I'm sorry to chat if you are now sitting there with you have no idea what's going on.
What I do know is they're still very close on track, and Misson is still unable to find a way past. He's taking some alternative lines. It seems to, are they closing the gap on Ruchuti? Maybe not by much. Bruce is growing the gap to Ruchuti at the moment. So yeah, JC up to P13, as Mac 30 points out, started in P24. So very good race through the pack there. And he's very, very close to Cameron Ross, so he could still potentially get up into the top 12. Stephen Bechtel not too far ahead down the road.
Shout out there to Aaron Lee being 11 spots further up the field as well. So good performance by him. Currently running in 7th place as well, so a good solid points all on the offering here. Johnson behind him though, which is only 11/10 or so back. 11/10 exactly. Sorry, hiccups here. Yeah.
So we're gonna try and this is the reverse of the Misson Valentini battle. This time the McLaren is behind. You see the straight line speed of that Audi is fairly impressive down there. McLaren is a wide boy. You can see it stick out behind the Audi. It's actually wider than the Bentley, if I'm not mistaken, which just makes my brain work even more. I just want to give a shout out to Scott Rockford there, not only because he's a teammate, I don't want to seem that biased, but I started in the rookies with Rockford in OOR as well, and at that stage he was still very much learning ACC, and now he's currently running in top 10 and chasing down Chalmers ahead of him, looking absolutely brilliant. I think it's a testament to the rookie series for anybody watching looking to get into some ACC racing. There is the rookie series that is running every week with track walkthroughs and everything to build racecraft and try and teach you to do moves like Pete Viney is attempting on Mitchell Buildup at the moment.
Yeah, I'll shout out Scott Rochford as well. We raced together in my first season in rookies, yeah, first person I really have consistent interaction with on track and off it. We're always talking after our rookies race about how we went, and Yeah, really enjoyed battling him. So good to see him doing well up in the top 10. I'm trying to chase down his teammate as well. Keith Chalmers there. That might end up being a spicy battle. We'll have to wait and see on that one.
Yeah, having spent a fair few laps behind Chalmers, he's not a particularly easy man to overtake. So yeah, I don't envy Rockford for having to attempt that. But this is a battle that's heating up as well. McLaws, of course, he was one of the victims of Cheetah a little bit earlier in the race, pitted to repair the damage, and he's making his way back through the field after he was running in, I think, P10 or so when he had the incident. Can somebody ban MacDaddy from chat, please, for just being that guy? Yeah, Doubles, it's honestly, I mean, the rookie series, not only is the racing good and clean, there's live stewarding, there's, as I said, the walkthroughs and the practice races are such a great learning tool for people who are uncomfortable on certain tracks. You have some of the sprint drivers lead them through as McLaws.
Oh!
Inside one, avoid each other pretty well there. I have the inside
Side
line
by
through my shot. Vex's legs. Oh, McLaw's braver on the brakes there, coming with Crocodiles, and he pulls it up into the apex, makes it move sick. But yeah, just to get back to the rookies, I mean, shout out to Mr. Gorilla Snapper there, him and Matt Powell organizing everything. You have walkthroughs with the sprint drivers who show you references, braking points, acceleration zones, danger zones on all the tracks. There's practice races to teach some racecraft, get some tips from the faster guys, and it's just generally an excellent learning tool for people who are maybe not comfortable racing in a big pack. And yeah, definitely a good starting point for anybody looking to get into ACC a little bit more competitively. Missing still all over the rear of Valentini. Valentini still able to place the car in the middle of Missing's way when it's necessary.
These two aren't far off the back of Rashidi either. That 8 and just under 9 minutes to go. I don't think Rashidi has really gapped these guys as much as we would have hoped. So even though these two are battling, they're not. I don't think they're holding each other up. It's 3.7 as they went through the start of the third sector. Wait and see what happens when they cross the line here.
Wondering if Nissan, I don't know much about the Audi setups, but if he's maybe just running slightly higher wing, which is compromising his run down the straight, which is why he can't get a move done into turn 2. Okay, seriously, McDaddy, honestly, just stop.
Funny thing is that I've been waiting and waiting to be able to make a joke like that as well. Oh, Sam's hating us at the moment, I reckon.
What he can do
when he watches this back.
Sigh. Yeah, no, I don't blame him. I wouldn't blame him at all. Yeah, so far it seems as though things have settled down pretty much. I mean, we still have this little battle, and then Shelley Samuel, Cameron Ross, and James Conboy all within fairly close contact with each other. But yeah, this race has had its fair share of incidents, but seems to be settling down as we reach the last 7 minutes or so. Cruz, again, just in a class of his own, 13 seconds clear of GT. I think Cruz is just running in map 1 with a Porsche, I think, not using the OP map of map 8. And just absolutely chilling out at the front. You can see the gap there from Valentini to Ricciuti has come down to 3.6, which is not enough, but shows that there is still some pace in these two.
Yeah, JC's up to P12 now, got past Ross as well. So JC's made up half the field.
That is a solid effort considering it's an hour race with just a single stop.
Yep, can't really put too much down to strategy. That's a lot down to pace. So
I would just like to point out the poll has since received some more votes, and it's now only 52 people who have bleeding eyes and 40% that say it's good. So if we can get the data on those 40%, then please ban them from any participation in OOR, then that would be probably a good starting point.
What about if I just voted yes, just so that I could hear you complain more?
Dude, you know me. I complain all the time. You don't need to vote for something to make me complain.
This is true. This is true. We're still following Mitten here. We're looking at the back of Valentini's McLaren. I'm sure he can draw it by massive amounts of details and memory. But he's got probably, what, about 4 laps, I think, left in the race. So hopefully set up a move and get the job done, because, and I quote, as Sam said, he'll be missing P3. Yep, I did it.
I mean, you really didn't have to do that.
I just thought about
At
you.
least Peach is enjoying it. So. You know.
Oh, I'm loving this. This is good fun.
I couldn't leave you hanging there, Peach. I'm sorry, mate. I just thought, yeah, he wants to hear this.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's in the same way that I want to see Van Dyke's livery. As you see, Rockford here has closed up to Chalmers a little bit, but as mentioned a little bit earlier, Chalmers probably one of the most difficult people I've ever had to overtake. He becomes basically a prodigy or a mix between Senna and Max Verstappen once you get on his tail, and it's essentially impossible to overtake, especially when he has a straight line advantage. So Rockford here definitely has his work cut out to get past that house Lexus in front of him. Just as a note, that gap from Valentini to Ricciuti is only 2.2 seconds now, so I'm not sure if Ricciuti maybe had a bit of an incident or has some tire drop off or he's just chilling out a little bit, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that gap comes down a bit more. That's not the case, Mr. Organize. I can guarantee that. I mean, it's a talking point, the same way that a massive pile-up on the highway is a talking point. People will talk about it. I mean, it's a good thing. Just Shady Samuel here, he was involved in that initial incident that caused the safety car as well. And was running fairly low in the standing, but he's made his way back up to P13. So a good recovery by him as well.
Yeah, recovery drivers make or break your races this season, I think. So this is a bit of a masterclass showing you how it's done. Even if you think you're having a bad day, you know, just keep those laps ticking over. Find your line. Ooh, that was almost an incident there, but well done to avoid that. But as I was saying, yeah, get your consistency going, find your space, get your rhythm, and you'll be surprised what you can do.
I think these two have just fallen off the back of JC really quickly. He hasn't really closed the gap to Bechtold in front, Convoy, but these two have fallen off significantly in the last 2 or 3 minutes, so I wonder if they've been battling that hard that maybe there was a little bit of contact or something that slowed them both up. But McLaws is still in behind, but yeah, it's not quite as tight. Oh, hang on.
That looks like a redress, so I'm not sure if there was maybe some form of an incident there. Gap to Ricciuti is big again.
Oh, Misson has got the job done on Valentini. Or not, no,
Well,
they've
he
just
did, like,
redressed.
yeah, it looks like he redressed just there, so I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe we'll get a replay. A lot of time left, the Valentini runs deep, Misson gets it done that time. And that he will be sighing a big sigh of relief for not missing out on P3.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Well done, chap. Well done, Mac.
I feel bad for them. Yeah,
we've convinced him to get on board.
I apologize. Yeah, I'm not even reading that, McGarry. No. Nobody read that.
Yeah, he was not missing that opportunity for sure.
God damn it, I said don't read it. Anyway, I think we might see Nissan just slowly build a little bit of gap in this last lap or two. Where is Cruz on track? He is coming up towards Leo Cup, so I suspect we will see one more lap after that, but it's going to be fairly close. It's about halfway through the lap. I think there should be one more at least.
He's got 16 seconds as a gap. Do you reckon he maybe backs off a little bit? 16-second gap and
might. Bibles, I hope you live in an apartment if that's the threat, because if you live in a normal house, then that's not really going to accomplish anything. So, message retracted. Okay, well, there we go. Bibles doing Bibles things as we see Cruz approach Inque here. Doesn't appear to be
Valentini's got a drive through.
Ooh.
Valentini has got a drive through for track limits. I'm going to guess that is.
Yeah, could be. There was no message from race control, so it seems to be track limits. Hopefully he doesn't dive into the pits to serve it now. That would be the incorrect thing to do.
Oh,
He does the incorrect thing. So just for those watching, wondering why you don't do it, if you don't serve it within 3 laps, you normally get disqualified. But seeing as the race is coming to an end, it would simply convert to a time penalty.
I believe it's 30 seconds, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's track dependent, but I think it's 30 seconds here. So, yep. I mean, I think the pit transit here isn't too long anyway, so it might still be pretty much equivalent. But yeah, it's better just to sprint to the finish and then hopefully not lose too many positions. Yeah. Anyway, not easy track to get. I will try to. I mean, there's a couple of spots exit of the S's and exit of Crocodiles. But yeah, he has managed to get the drive through and he's currently recovering from serving it.
Go. McClaw's looking for a move on Ross. Not quite close enough in the braking zone of turn 2. And just right up behind into into barbecue. The draft now got a good exit. Looks like he's closing up to the back of Ross. Can't get a move done here though, just has to sit in behind. As we see Justin Cruz though come across the line. Your split red champion by what will be some margin. Corey Sweet finishing down in 22nd. The battle here between McIntosh and Ty. It's not over yet. Ty just needs to get a good exit. And he does. Rashuti comes home, yeah, P2. And he will finish probably in 3rd in the championship. His position missing. Just getting a move done. Does take 3rd. Ty holds on for 4th. McIntosh home in 5th. Lee coming across the line. That's a great performance by Lee. Jumped up quite a few positions to finish 6th. Valentini comes home 7th after that drive-through penalty. Johnson in 8th. Chalmers comes home in 9th with Rockford just in behind. We've got this battle here. He's going to look for it. Side by side. Ross will get the easier line and the exit. Comes home to finish 14th ahead of McClaws. Viney comes home in 16th place. The Eyesore comes home in 17th. Neighbour in 18th. Wolf here. A little bit of damage on that car. Should hold on for 19th from JLS. Heading a good exit here. Yeah, we'll hold on to 19th. JLS will finish 20th. And Carood will be the last of our finishers in 20th spot after what could be said an unfortunate race from the very start.
And that brings to an end another fantastic day of racing. As we get a review here of the results, Justin Cruz in the Pro Class, P1, Stefano GTP2, and Samuelson in P3. And the Pro-Ams, we have Alex Valentini with the win, P. Chalmers, and Scott Offord in P3. So again there for Rockies. And in the AMs, we have Kevin Peterson with the Grand Slam. Absolutely dominated the AM class today. And yeah.
We say that every week.
Well, yes, but you have to be consistent. Consistency is key, as Bob now said. So I'm
It
just
really
sticking to that
is.
mantra.
That's how you get the job done, boys. But that is AP done for this season. That is all signed, sealed, delivered. Enjoyable racing for the last 8 weeks ish with the breaks that we had. So hats off to all those that have done the tallies and the points and got their podiums and overall wins and whatnot. But we've still got some more racing to come. I think we've got North America and Europe not too far away. And then I believe we have endurance kicking off again next weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, correct. The endurance series at Nürburgring, 3 hours of Nürburgring, teams of 2. So it will be the AP and then the joined series of the EU and NA. Thank you, team stewards, commentators, data entry, ball boys and girls, orange cutters, and of course, chat. And what about the pizza delivery guy? Does he not get a shout out for the delicious pineapple pizza? And on that note, gentlemen, it's been an absolute joy. And I wish you all a good night.
Thank you very much,
you very
JP. Yep. Thanks, Sean. Well done on your pro victory as well.
Thank you, sir.
It's been a pleasure commentating with you boys, as always. So I will, I'll love you and leave you. Thank you very much, chat, for your efforts tonight. Not so much Mac Daddy. Thanks for giving us a laugh, but yeah, you can stop with the missing stuff. They were really missing tonight. Mic drop, I'm out.
Boo, get out. Get out. Cheers, guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good one.